everybody. I'm here with Nigel. We've got some rockabilly playing very quietly in the background so I don't get dinged for copyright, but right now it's the Stray Cats, just in case you're curious. And I figured, let's have some fun with some makeup. How's everybody feeling today? Are you having a good morning so far?
Barbara and Kathleen say hi.
Hello! Hi! Oh, it's nice to have you with us. It's always nice to see you, Kathleen. Oh, goodness. I've got a lot of stuff to talk about today, so I think what I'll do is I'll just sort of start talking about some of that stuff, because some of it's like real boring, and get it out of the way, and then hopefully by the time a few more folks join us, that part will be done.
Well, we've just had Lori, Jerry Lynn, Sandra, and Louise come in
Hi!
and say hello and good morning.
Hi, everybody! And of course, that really soft, caramelicious voice you hear over here next to me is my delicious husband, Nigel. So he's been gracious enough to help me out with this. He's excellent at this sort of thing, and he's moderating all of the comments. So if I don't respond to everything on the screen, because frankly, I'm gonna be staring at a mirror most of the time. So he's gonna like read some of your comments off to me as I take pauses when I'm talking. He's also going to help us with our brunch theme today. He has prepared some delightful beverage combinations to share with you again while I'm kind of taking time away from talking to put makeup on. And I've requested that he make at least one non-alcoholic beverage as well, so that way, you know, if you're not a drinker, we've got something that you could try too. And I am right now just having coffee. There's nothing like interesting in it. It's just coffee. I need that in the morning. It's essential. I'm also having my liquid breakfast, which again is not necessarily that exciting.
Kathleen says, looks like Fang's arm, like Soupy Sales. That shows my age. You gotta do your, my husband, Fang.
Oh, Phyllis. All right. So.
By the way, this is Louise McDonald's first ever live stream, so.
Oh! Yay!
And hello, Cheryl and Jean and Megan and LaRue. Hi, LaRue.
Oh, yay! This is so fantastic. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I had a request the last couple times I did a live stream where folks wanted to see if I would switch up the time and the day a little bit to see, you know, if maybe it'd be a better fit for their schedule. So my hope is that, you know, because it's a weekend, it's a little early in the day, that maybe more people can join us today. We'll see how it goes. So,
Cha-Cha's first live stream ever.
Oh,
us,
yay!
Yes.
Well, thank you. I'm so honored.
We love you in Dallas, says Jean.
Oh.
Liz says hi from LA.
Oh, this is so sweet. This is a great way to start a day, I must say.
Yeah. I gotta say, folks, if you're watching and I miss your comments, it's not a snub. It's every so often the YouTube stream holds on to comments and then dumps a huge pile all in one go.
Technology, right?
Yeah, and so sometimes I miss them in the deluge, but it's not because we don't like you, it's because of technology.
Yes, but we will try to answer any juicy questions you might have, but kind of hold tight because I promise there's going to be a lot of information in this live stream. I've been playing around with this particular makeup for a while now, basically since I got it. So in case you weren't sure about what the theme is, we're having a bronze brunch. It is Natasha Denona's bronze palette. You can see that it's got like my fingerprints, gross, all over it, whatever. At least it shows it's been used. This palette, by the way, took a beating, particularly last night. I've not used any wet application because with Natasha Denona products, you don't need to. Her stuff is incredibly pigmented. It has a lot of mica in it. That's the truth of it. And in this particular palette, that is definitely the case because you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mattes. And one of the mattes, well, actually 1, 2, 3 of those mattes, 4 of those mattes have a little bit of mica in them too, that I can see right off the bat. And then the rest of these are all shimmers. And not only that, but they're like metallic shimmers. So I've got a lot of information about the product itself right here, and I also have a lot of information about how this kind of product will affect somebody with my complexion, because I'll tell you right off the bat that this is definitely a palette that is better for folks who have a little melanin in their skin or like a really nice tan.
Lori's got a question.
Oh, what's that?
Do you feel it is worth the investment?
This particular, well, I'll save that for the end, but this particular palette, I've got some really mixed feelings about. I'll let you know that much up front. And I'll wait till I actually beat the face a little bit, and then I'll tell you my impressions. I do like a lot of Natasha Denona's stuff. The Lila palette is gorgeous. The gold palette, which I also have, is way easier to use when you have a lighter complexion because it's got some depth to it. It's got a lot of like light tones and dark tones and mattes and shimmers in almost equal quantity. It's a great versatile palette. This one, you can tell right off the bat, it's definitely meant for somebody with a darker skin tone because it doesn't have any light colors at all. In fact, this is almost a completely monochromatic color story with the exception of the two purples up here. You get this really dark kind of plummy black color. It's like an off black, very pretty. It's called Deep Dive. It's kind of a matte with a little bit of shimmer in it. And the Rhodium, which is like a metallic purple. It reminded me quite a bit actually, and I have it over here. In concept, it reminded me a bit of, oh, where'd it go? The Blitz Violet Orchid from the Pat McGrath Midnight Sun palette. It reminded me a little bit of this, except this is a better color. It's just a little bit poppier. The chromatic shift, the flip on that one is just a lot more pronounced. I like the drama. When I'm going for crazy colors, I want more drama. Like, think like a clown and work your way back, but just a little. Like, when I want to look like I'm wearing makeup, I really want people to know I put work in. But yeah.
Lori Rue says, would love to know if you've tried Pat McGrath's Mothership palettes.
I just pulled one out. So yeah, you and me, we're on the same page. I actually, I have the Midnight Sun. I have Divine Rose. Here's the thing, like, I've been migrating into incorporating more makeup because frankly, as expensive as some of this makeup is, it's still less expensive than all the money I've been spending on wigs for this channel. Because I pay for most of my samples out of pocket. And in fact, that was one of the things I wanted to hit on right away. Disclosures. It's kind of like something I'm on a mission about this particular wig season. I want to set a standard for disclosures a little bit better on my channel. And then hopefully by me doing that, that will encourage other people to be more transparent about their own practices and where they're getting their stuff and whether or not they bought it themselves. I feel like the audience deserves to know that information. Now with me, that stuff's right up front and in my opinion at the beginning of every video because I'm like, I'm Heather and I'm from Sister Wigs, which is basically like me saying, hi, buy from my store. So to me, that's like me saying right up front what's going on, what the agenda is. So you have the option to decide whether or not that bias has crept in, right? Like I can't just say, hey, I'm being honest. I can say that, but it's up to you whether or not you believe it when I say it. So I need to give you that information so that trust is there. And I know that a lot of folks are kind of confused about the disclosures because the laws changed last year. They changed last year, like at the end of last year in response to Fire Festival. And it's now kind of crazy because it's like even like if you've liked somebody who has paid you with a product or something, supposedly that is something you have to disclose. I don't even know how they would enforce that, frankly. And I won't dwell on this subject for too long, but I wanted to let you know up front because my hope is to kind of help set a tone that other people will follow, is I paid for literally all of this makeup. I'm not being compensated to endorse any of these products that I mentioned. I paid for them all out of pocket, no affiliate codes at all. So not to say that I wouldn't love that though. So if you end up buying any of the products I mentioned today from any store, please let that store know that you got it from me, because if enough, or you got the idea to buy it from me, because maybe they will add me to PR someday, which I'm not really a part of any PR list for most of the wig brands that I carry. I did receive the Tressler wig that I'm going to show you a little bit later as a promotional item, and that was gratis. That is the only item in this whole video today that was provided by a brand. So there you go, disclosures, done. I also want to thank all of you who commented about my glasses post the other day. If you missed that, I put that on my community tab, and I I try not to, you know, let people's criticisms get under my skin because I'm on YouTube. I figure that is part of the package. You know, not everyone's gonna be nice. Some people just make it a hobby to be mean. And, you know, that's about them. It's not about me. And it usually doesn't get in here. But when it's a situation where, you know, it was a little too triggering because I've been called Four Eyes and made fun of for my glasses, like, since I was a wee little thing. And so it was too much. I had to stand up for the Velmas of the universe because, man, that gets tired fast. I would love to have perfect vision. And now the cat is out of the bag, that with all these lights in my face and everything, it is a bit of a challenge. But I've got a mirror right in front of my face, so we should be pretty golden. It's just when things are kind of far away that I struggle.
So, okay, good deal on the disclosure, says Louise. Liz says, well, it is a smart move because along with wigs, makeup makes all the difference in the polished look and youthening effective alternative hair.
Agreed.
Kathleen believes you, heart. Liz says, I prefer honesty and I find sponsored videos less trustworthy. And Lori says, I thought you were having a professional makeup artist. Makeup has been stunning.
Oh, thank you!
To which I mentioned about your history in doing theater makeup and so forth.
Yeah, that's another reason why I think I'm more comfortable going slightly more theatrical, because I was a theater kid, and I was a professional musician for over 20 years. And I just really like the drama. That's why I like those trainer bands, though I'm not wearing them today. All right, I'm going to also tell you what I've already put on this face so you know what my base is. I haven't put any foundation or anything on because part of what I want to show you today is how I cover my cystic acne. I have polycystic ovary syndrome, which causes some pretty significant issues like acne and infertility and hair loss, and this is happening right now. So I wanted to show you how I cover that up in the videos. I mainly rely on color correction, because I feel like it does a really nice job without me having to apply a ton of product to my face. And another thing I'm trying to do today is do a look that does not require a full coverage foundation, which is tricky when you've got all this going on, but I'll show you. It's just a combination of concealer with the foundations. I'm gonna be using a lot of makeup today. I have to. I've been playing around with this for a while. I have to use a lot of makeup with this palette because the tones, they're all like sepia browns. Like, it's just entirely dark. And I'm gonna need to go dramatic to do this. So, all right, anyhow, let's go ahead and disclose the products I used. Last night, I tried this for the first time, and the scaliness actually went completely away. I don't know if that will continue. I'll keep you updated, but I am in love with this so far. I woke up and my face felt like butter after I washed it. This is the Ordinary Retinol 0.5% in Squalane. If you're not familiar with what Squalane is, it's basically like your face naturally produces something similar to this called squalene in your sebum, in the natural oils of your face. Well, squalane is just like the shelf-stable, hydrogenated, like they add hydrogen to it, version of that product. And it's got just a smidge of retinol in it. So it's just beautiful. And that squalane keeps it from drying your skin out. I have tried prescription retinol products and they dry my skin out terribly. And this did not do that. It felt beautiful. So I will keep you posted. And it's cheap. It was like 15 bucks. I love that. I'm willing to try things at all kinds of price points. If they work, they work.
Jerry Lynn says, sitting here watching and simultaneously waiting for hair mail from Sister Wigs.
Yay! Oh, well, hopefully you like it.
Billy completely sympathizes with the PCOS. Everything she has wrong can be traced to it.
And getting you know what, true story. I went to Pier 1 yesterday because they're going out of business, and I love Pier 1, but I wore my mask and everything. It was cool. I bought those bookends with the little rhino on it, and there's like an elephant over there. I got those for like 40% off. But anyway, the lady behind the counter, like, she looked like she had PCOS. And so I, just gently started talking to her about, how I run a store and, oh, goodness gracious, because we had matching zits basically. And I was commiserating a little with her. Plus I hadn't had like human contact with anyone aside from my husband in a hot minute. And she said she had PCOS, and then, like a reflex, the next thing I asked her was, how long did it take you to get a diagnosis? She said it took her like 8 years, and it took me 7. So, we exchanged cards, and hopefully we'll become friends. Hopefully she shows up today. That'd be super fun.
Kathleen's getting touching cherry mix expected for delivery today.
That color.
And so is Andrea. What she is. UPS won't deliver till Monday. Oops.
All right, I'm gonna rattle off some products for a little bit, and then we'll take a break for more comments in a second, honey. Because if I go at this pace, I'm never gonna get my face beat. Okay, so I had to prime my eyes with some Lumify as well. I did that about an hour before I put my contact lenses in, because y'all know I have issues with my eyes. This is Buxom's Big O Power Plump Lip Balm. That is on. Oh, also at night I've been using this stuff. I want to tell you what I use like to prep my skin. I used Smith's Rosebud Salve. It's old-timey. It has a really nice scent, but very light scent. And it's mainly just petroleum jelly for your lips. It's great. And it's inexpensive too. It's one of those things where if it's not broke, don't fix it. I also use Pond's cold cream to take all this stuff off. It's cheap. It works like a charm. I just have to make sure I wash my face really, really well afterwards, or else the mineral oil in it will make my face break out. I also used MAC's Prep and Prime 24-hour Extend Eye Base on the lids. I used a little bit of Urban Decay Quick Fix because this is a primerless face I'm about to beat, because I want it to have kind of a dewy finish. Yes, I'm gonna go dewy even with zits, and it will work, hopefully, I think. So this is the Quick Fix spray. It's just a really light sort of moisturizer spray, and I think that's about it. Everything else is au naturel. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this party started. I think I'm actually going to start with my eyes, because I've noticed a lot of kickback with this palette, which is so depressing, because her Natasha Denona, if you're not familiar, is a luxury brand. I mean, the packaging is gorgeous, and she's really, really well known for the creamy, buttery formula of her eyeshadows. This is a really nice palette, and I've swatched it, and the whole thing does apply well. Like I said, there's a lot of mica in a lot of this, and that helps it kind of apply more smoothly. So if you've ever noticed that frost and shimmers and metallic shades apply a little bit more easily sometimes, it's the mica. It's just that the way that lays out as a mineral is kind of like flat and scaly. That's what gives it its reflective properties, but it also helps it apply kind of nice and evenly, but it also leads to a lot of fallout. So there is fallout, a lot of it, and that's why I want to just put this on first and get that over with. So I'm going to have to pull in colors from another palette. I know that's probably like cheating, but it's because there are no lighter shades at all in this, at all. The lightest shade, I'll show you. The lightest matte in here is probably this one called Sundown, but I'll swatch Beach as well. And I'm not going to swatch the whole palette for this. What I'll do instead is I shot a little video of it, and maybe I'll put that up or something like that, or send a link. It's in my Instagram story, but you can see even the two lightest colors, definitely meant for a woman who's got a little bit more melanin in her skin, you know, like some Beyonce action. She would be able to rock this palette very easily. But you know what? I'm up for a challenge. So I'm gonna wipe that off. But yeah, very warm, very, very, very warm. And my skin tone is, I would say it's like on the neutral cool side. It's not completely cool. Like I don't have like olive undertones to my skin, but it's also not completely warm either. Like I don't have a lot of ivory going on. It's kind of like I said, kind of in a neutral cool territory, which means that most foundations aren't a perfect match for me, but we can get kind of close. And today's foundation is lighter coverage, so that's going to be pretty good. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to pull in some colors today from that Midnight Sun palette that I grabbed earlier. So who was asking about whether or not I had any Pat McGrath motherships?
Oh, that's a while back.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, whoever you are, you're a genius, because you read my mind, because yes, okay, so Lori, genius, because you knew psychically somehow that I was going to pull out this Midnight Sun palette, because I need some of this little lovely color, and not the purple, though that would also pop really beautifully, but it's also a little too dark because the color shift on this VR Violet, whatever she calls it, the VR Blitz Violet Orchid, that's what she calls it. The shift on this, it goes on kind of a dark gray, which gets into that mid-tone territory, like darker to mid-tone. That we're trying to get away from that. I need something with a little bit of contrast to make this look really work. Otherwise, it's just going to look really overwhelming on somebody that is as pale as I am. And you'll probably detect that as soon as I start putting it on. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and get that part of this started. And I'm going to need a kind of fluffy brush. I'm going to use a natural hair brush for this. I'm actually going to use a lot of brushes for this look. Just heads up there. Okay. You never have too many blending brushes, in my opinion. I'm going to go with... Oh, am I going to grab that one? Okay.
Pat McGrath's trichromes are gorgeous.
Truth.
Oh, yeah.
They are amazing.
Heather opened one of the palettes and I instantly went, ooh. I went into direct primate mode.
Yeah. I am going to use this beach color, which is a little bit, you can already see there's a little fallout, or kickback rather. So I'm just tapping this, and it's kind of like, that's the sad thing. Most of her palettes don't do this, but you can kind of see that it's almost like disintegrating on touch with the kickback. And I'm going to have to like make sure that there's not a lot of extra on the brush. You don't really need to use much product though. That's a really great thing about Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath for that matter. Aside from some of the shimmers that are meant to be more like toppers, like most of her stuff's also incredibly pigmented.
Liz asks, do you have a favorite brush line?
Yeah, actually, I love Sonia G brushes. They're natural bristle brushes. I also have quite a few Wayne Goss brushes. I also have some of these fancy schmancy Japanese brushes, but they're a little bit out of my price range. And frankly, I've had to very slowly build up my Sonia G collection because they're also pretty ritzy, but they're worth it. You can't use them with cream-based makeup because, you know, they will absorb it because it's a natural fiber. But man, they're so nice. And I get them from Blueish. They really are soft, which is something I've been looking for my brushes because for one, I'm about to turn 40, but also when I lost weight everywhere. I lost a lot of the integrity of my skin, and in full disclosure, I've had to slowly incorporate fillers into my routine. So I've had lip filler to kind of replace some of the volume I lost there. I've had a little bit of voluma put in my cheeks, but the goal is not to look like a different person or look like I'm 20. I just don't want to have a facelift before I really need one, because the skin was really starting to show that it had lost a lot of integrity, and I have up close a lot of little baby fine lines, particularly like around here.
Hello, Wilma, who has just joined us. She asks if you have tried Real Techniques brushes.
Yeah, actually, I have, and I actually have some. I have some of them. I really like these little guys, these little blendy thingies. Especially when I'm using full coverage foundation. But yeah, I buy stuff at every stinking price point. In fact, I just bought a bunch of ColourPop stuff yesterday just to check it out. Speaking of which, folks have been requesting more of a nude makeup routine. I gotta look down here for a second, so sorry about that. And I have been planning that. So we will do something more than just a single routine because I've got so many nude palettes. We're gonna call the series, Have I Got Nudes for You? Because, you know, I want it to be a little saucy. Why not? Maybe it'll get people's attention that way. Who knows? But I've been investing in a lot of nude palettes, and my hope is that that will help, you know, those folks who want more of a soft, natural sort of look. I am capable of doing more than just crazy.
That is a great title, says Louise.
Thank you.
Bonnie says, I love your makeup hair area.
Oh, yes, we've been working on it. In fact, Nigel has helped me considerably with getting this set up. And he's actually a lot better with like making sure the shelves look pretty than me. I just was like, make sure it looks cute.
OCD to the rescue.
Oh, he was fantastic. It's fantastic.
Jerry Lynn Vitale says, Murad Rapid Collagen Infusion works amazing for fine lines.
Oh, write that down.
Well, she just did.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm gonna tell you so we can look into it.
Okay, well, let me pull up my notepad here.
I have some Murad products. I really like their the vitamin C peel that they have. And if you notice, I'm going like really conservatively with this. It might not seem that way because it's so incredibly pigmented and it's so dark, but I'm only applying a little bit at a time because of those factors. And don't worry, I'm gonna blend this a lot to the point where it's gonna be like tedious. Right now, Elastica is playing.
Okay, that's a note made from Jerry Lynn. Thank you. I've made a note of that. Excellent.
So we're gonna do a halo today, which is why I wanted that lighter color from the Pat McGrath. I mean, what's the point of a halo if it's not really light in the center? But a lot of these colors in this Natasha Denona bronze palette are kind of inaccessible to me because they're a little bit too dark, but we'll figure it out. And I figured a halo would be a nice way to showcase those other colors, but in small doses. Okay. Now I'm going to take this gigantic, fluffy little blending brush, this, I'm going to butcher this name and I'm so sorry, the Teshu Takamori T6. It's a great blending brush though, natural fiber again, and real fluffy because I want this to look a little bit blown out. And the cool thing about this approach is, you know, with the halo, we're going to be putting product here that covers most of this up and almost like cuts part of that. And we're going to be putting our foundation on after, so you don't have to worry about over blending because if anything, it's just going to make it look softer. And I'm going to just kind of speed through doing this process one more time because I want it to be, you know, have a little bit of depth to it. I'm going to go in with the exact same color though, and I'm going to touch this side up just a little bit because it looks like it's just a little bit lighter than the other one. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go in again with that beach color. Again, that is literally the lightest color down here. It's probably a little darker than the Sundown, but the Sundown is also warmer. I'm not ready for that yet. And I'm really just putting this part in the crease. Now, one thing I will say about the primer I used today, I should have used my Smashbox primer because this MAC primer is a little grabby. It's good for picking up pigments that when you're afraid of fallout. Which is why I chose it today, but it is a little grabby, so when I'm running the brush across it, it does kind of tug a little bit. And as I was getting at earlier, like my eyes are aging, so I want to buy brushes and products that don't do what I just described. They don't pull and tug like that. Maybe just a smidge more. I feel very Bob Ross right now.
Happy little eyes.
Happy little eyes. Okay, now do the other side. I'm just kind of doing like a windshield wiper motion. The wipers on the bus go swish, swish, swish. So, Nigel,
yes.
This is the part where you're supposed to talk.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, last time, everyone. Last time we did one of these live streams, we talked about the drinks that I provide for Heather. And, well, this is brunch. Let's have some drinks. This here is a jug of pseudo screwdriver I mixed up. I'll show you what I mixed it up with. This is...
All right, take a break for just a second. I'm going to do the exact same thing that I just did, by the way, and I'm going to now follow it up with the suntan color. I'm using the exact same brush, so just in case you're wondering what I'm doing while he's talking.
That's a jug with 3 of these True Orange Mango Orange Aid sachets dissolved in it. And some Kettle One Botanical Grapefruit and Rose Vodka. About 3 shots worth. Maybe a bit more. Shall I drink you up, my sweet?
Sure, why not? Though I hope you're not going to give me 3 shots of vodka. Oh my goodness.
No, that's about 3/4 of a shot there.
Okay.
No.
I do not need it to be that kind of party where I'm like sloppy and painting like weird angles on my face.
No.
Hi everybody. I'm sloppy Heather.
No, but yeah, that's true orange, mango orangeade, some Kettle One grapefruit and rose vodka, and topped up with a lot of water. Oh, hello, Demo32. Kathleen's coming on over.
Party.
Liz says, Nigel, artistic OCD, provisioner of drinks, you are a keeper. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I know, right? I agree.
And Jerry Lynn, yes, it is delicious. 3 shots and your makeup will be Picasso-esque.
Yes.
I'm going to have to try a drink with Rose. Sounds lovely. Oh, Cha-Cha, have I got great stuff in store for you? Everything, well, okay, almost every drink recipe I've got so far contains some sort of rose. So it's 2/3 of the stuff we've got has rose in it.
Yeah, I love rose.
Nigel, how much weight have you lost? Well, let's see. At my heaviest, I was 320 pounds. That was several years ago. I hovered around 280 pounds, which is exactly 20 stone, for years and years and years. Then I started dieting and got down to about 250, 240, and then I had my accident and I got down to 218 pounds, which is very light, and then quarantine hit and I gained a bit more weight. But yeah, so I'm lighter than I have been for a long time, and I'm about my college fencing weight. So that's that. Hello, Brandis.
Yeah, see how dark this is, and I'm using a very light touch with this. It's just really, really, really dark. Maybe it'll warm me up a little bit. We'll see how it goes. I'm trying to go for like a beachy, like weekend on the beach brunch kind of look. So we'll see how that goes. Get a little bit extra in that corner.
Liz says, "Oh, blended out that orange looks gorgeous."
Yeah, they're very, very, very super duper pigmented. It's one of the real pluses of this brand. But wow, yeah, you gotta blend the Jesus out of it, because but it blends easily, which is great. Her stuff is very, very buttery and blends beautifully. I really want to keep building up this crease triangle area here a little bit, and I'm gonna need a slightly different brush for this. So let me see what I got here. Ooh.
Brandis says, "Can you zoom in a bit?"
Yeah, I can try to sit forward a little bit. Let me see what I can do here. Oh, technology. How's that?
Lori, don't worry. You said you can't drink because you've got lupus. Believe me, being part of a large tribe of people with autoimmune deficiencies and problems, we can sympathize. But we do have a non-alcoholic beverage that I can show you.
I have to tell you, you've come to the right place. My husband has rheumatoid arthritis and goodness knows what other autoimmune disorders. So we're still in the process of trying to get that figured out. I luckily just have my PCOS and my, alphabet soup of acronym disorders. But nothing autoimmune. But my mom has SLE, and my maternal grandmother actually passed away from it when she was 30. So I'm a hardcore passionate advocate for folks who have lupus, because it's like a wildfire on my mom's side of the family. It seems like everybody's got it. And the insidious thing is that because, they're women, I know for a fact that my maternal grandmother passed away because it was the 70s and they thought she was depressed. They just thought she had depression and that she was making stuff up until she literally passed away. So that, I'm sorry to make that grim, but just know my heart is with you. Like, what you have is no joke. I am grateful that you have a diagnosis, because I know a lot of folks who have lupus, they basically go years, sometimes most of their lives, without ever getting a proper diagnosis. And thank goodness that part of the equation is handled. So I'm grateful that your doctors were able to figure that out for you. I just know I know a lot more about that than I probably should as somebody who doesn't have it. No, it's no joke at all. So we're gonna go ahead and put Magma on, and I'm gonna do this with this Sonia G Builder 1. I love her brushes. They're wonderful, and I really want to pack on some pigment here, but I will continue to keep this handy to blend. I'm gonna look down a little bit. Can you guys see what I'm doing a little bit better? You can see it's very, very, very blown out looking. But we're gonna use a little bit of, where did I put it? This Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion to sort of cut the halo out. So don't worry, it's not gonna look this overwhelming the whole time. Though it will look really intense just because this is such an incredibly warm palette, and it's definitely designed for somebody who's got more melanin. And I'm just kind of dragging that down a little bit. I'm trying to use a super, super, super light hand with this stuff, but it's still, wow, wow, just very intense. Okay, I'm gonna blend this a little bit here. I'm gonna turn, hopefully that you can catch it when I turn. Nigel.
Yep. Just typing a quick response to Willman. Says, Dawn Muller says, I think I have PCOS, never diagnosed, but I have every symptom. Probably the reason I can't get below 200 pounds. Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier, Dawn, and it takes a while.
Oh, it takes years sometimes.
To get diagnosed. A lot of people have problems. It just takes forever because they don't think about it. They don't believe people.
I think it's because in both the cases of like things like lupus and PCOS, you know, they're systemic, and the way that most modern medicine is set up is for specialties. Well, if it's something that affects multiple organ groups, multiple parts of your body, like, no one doctor is going to specialize in all of that stuff in most cases, so they all just kind of go, And PCOS is a great example of that. You know, it's one of those diagnoses that comes from exclusion. Like, they have to exclude things like Cushing's and stuff like that before they can actually, like, give you a diagnosis. And heaven forbid you don't present classic PCOS symptoms. Like, let's say you don't have the hirsutism, which is like hair growth on your face. Let's say you don't have, oh, what the heck is it? Like the hair loss or any of that stuff. You know, the cystic acne like I've got. Heaven forbid you don't have any of that stuff, but, you know, let's say you can't conceive. Then it takes a really long time for them to figure it out, because...
Brandis says it's the same struggle with fibromyalgia and Hashimoto's disease. Yes.
Oh, I believe that.
Definitely. Dawn follows up with, I do have many fibroids in my ovaries, 2, they tell me.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Those are painful. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. This is a lot of warm tones. Just a ton. Okay. I'm going to go back to this side now. I don't want to get too crazy with all this because, wow. Wowie, wow.
Woo-wee.
I know. This is a lot of pigment.
No, sorry. I was quoting a character from Rick and Morty. So.
He has a really disgusting name.
Yes.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Nice guy, though.
Yeah.
Unfortunate name. Anyway, would now be a good time to jump in on a non-alcoholic recipe.
Oh, that'd be delightful.
man, Serene. Man, I can feel you. All that going back and forth and misdiagnoses. Yeah, been there, done that. Okay. Lori says, are you working with pigment or shadow?
Right now I am working with, this is literally, it says it's eyeshadow, but it feels a lot like pressed pigment because it's got so much pigment to it. It's just a heavily pigmented shadow. This is the Magma. These are matte eyeshadows. The Magma, the Suntan, the Sundown, the Ridge, and the Beach are all the matte shadow shades in here, and the rest are all metallic foiled shimmery shades. And that's something else I wanted to touch on. Another reason why this palette is tricky is if you've got any wrinkles on your eyes, like I do, these kind of metallic foils can be very difficult to work with because if they're not formulated just right, they will settle into all of the wrong places and really highlight the texture a lot. I had that issue when I bought a Melt palette recently. I actually used it for an Instagram shoot. I used their Smoke Sessions palette, which is like pot themed, but I bought it because it had these beautiful green metallic shades in it. And boy, did they look really bad on me. They looked awful. I actually had to break out a Pat McGrath palette and put some sparkle on top of it, and then it worked great. But if I would have just left it on its own, it would have looked rubbish.
Okay, non-alcoholic recipe then, folks. This is Ziyad brand premium jalab syrup. Now, this is derived from an old Persian word, gulab. It's also called jalab or jalap. It's where we get the British word jollop and also the word julep, as in mint julep. It's originally a sweetened rose syrup used to make medicine easier to go down. A spoonful of jollop makes the medicine go down, as they say. But, which is why jollop is used as a term for medicine in Britain. But anyway, this is date and rose flavored. It's very nice. It's got dilution instructions on the thing, but what I like to do is, for a non-alcoholic beverage, take a little drizzle of jollop.
All right, take break for just a second, honey. Sure. I want to keep going. I'm gonna take this color High Degree with the Sonia G Worker 3 brush, and I'm just gonna dip this part here, like just the edge of it, because it's not a totally flat brush. It's not like a pencil brush. It's still a really nice soft brush, but it's very tightly bristled. So I'm going to just kind of tap that there, because I want to save my fingers for when I'm actually applying that kind of center color. All right, go ahead, honey. I just want to tell them what I'm doing.
That's all right. So yeah, a little bit of jollop in the bottom of the glass. Extra rose water for that extra rosy taste, for authentic jollop. And just sort of dash that puppy in there. And top it up with water. That's a lovely fruity, flowery, sweet drink that you can have on its own. It's nice and refreshing and tasty. It's makes a nice alternative to iced tea. And you know, if you want to make a julep, you can add some harder stuff like rum or whatever you like. So there you go. Non-alcoholic recipe that you can adapt however you like.
I love you.
And I adore you, Natasha. Love a bit of jollop.
This color is so pretty. Here, I'll swatch this one for you too, so you can kind of see, because this one's kind of special. These metallic foils are really luscious. It's kind of like a red, rusty copper color, just super pretty. And I'm just using a little bit of it to kind of flesh out where that halo area is gonna go. I have to personally be very careful about where I place red tones around my eyes. Not only do they tend to stain, which is another reason why it's good to use a primer. If they've got carmine in them, they will stain your eyes, which can be quite irritating. But my eyes turn red after a while of wearing my contact lenses. So I want to avoid really enhancing that by putting, you know, a bunch of red tones right up against my eyes. So this is really out of the norm for me with this palette. It's kind of a challenge. Challenge accepted.
let's see if I can catch up on the stuff I've missed.
Yeah. Let's chat.
Wilma says the other problem with getting a diagnosis of autoimmune is that some symptoms are common, so you don't know whether your condition is causing it or not. True.
That's right.
True.
Oh, yeah.
Andrea says, I was diagnosed at 15, but the doctors didn't see it was a big deal. Now at 45, I couldn't have children, and now have Graves and Hashimoto's being tested for Cushing's.
Oh, man. If it's not one thing, it's another, ain't it? Whew. It definitely feels like that sometimes. And it's really annoying because, you know, people say that stuff starts to happen when you turn a certain age. But, you know, if you're like that, and, you know, I've experienced that too, you know, that's been from like teenage years on. It's like, when is there any relief?
Oh, and Andrea says, I get angry that those doctors didn't think it was serious and I could be helped. Oh, the number of times, Heather, any of us have been to doctors.
Yes.
And they're just sort of, well, whatever, you know, you're fat, lose weight.
Yeah. Oh, did you tell them about how they thought you had gout?
I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but yeah, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, I was overweight for quite some time and I was about 33, which is longer ago than I care to mention. I started to get joint pains, and so I kept talking to my doctors and saying, do you think I could be getting arthritis because we have a history of arthritis in the family? And basically these doctors were essentially on the obesity epidemic bandwagon. Everything is down to people being fat, so it must be fat, so go lose some weight and take some pills and stop bothering us.
I had an endocrinologist once tell me that the cure to all of my illnesses was to, as in, push myself away from the table. I was like, girl.
Yeah. So, you know, after 5 years of hurting and being told to lose weight, and they think, yo, you're fat, it's gout, we'll test you for gout. Being tested for gout every single time came up negative. Oh, you're getting arthritis. Well, I was asking about that 5 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What brand eyeshadows do you prefer to use, Heather, says Dawn?
Well, it depends on what I'm trying to do. Because, for example, if I want to use a lot of mattes, then I tend to grab things like the Natasha Denona because she makes really, really good mattes. Shimmers, though, there are some really nice, inexpensive shimmers out there. Like, for instance, this metallic palette, you know, this Natasha Denona, I'm actually... like, I'm kind of let down that there are so many metallic shades because, like I was saying earlier, like, it's like cheating because there's so much mica in the metallics that they already are going to spread really, really well. So lower end brands like, you know, Juvia's Place and ColourPop also have really solid metallic shades that will blend really beautifully, which is why it's so baffling that Melt's metallic formula is as bad as it is because that's usually like easy peasy for most brands to pull off. So it depends. Like, if I want something that's a little bit more nude and natural, I'll probably gravitate more towards like Bobbi Brown and Natasha Denona. If I want something really ultra luxe and shimmery, probably something like Pat McGrath. But like I just mentioned, there are lots of brands that are very accessible at all price points that will specialize in different things. I guess that was a really long-winded answer. I'm sorry about that.
Cha-cha, yes, Jollop is good with carbonated water too.
I'm going to take some of this silk color, exact same brush, because I just wiped it off on my hand a little bit. And I'm going to go in here just a smidge. I like this color, but still not light enough really to offset how muddy this looks on me. Oi. Oi, oi, oi. Because even that, like, it looks like it's going to be a light color, and it's not. Check this out. That's still kind of a dark color, at least for me. It's beautiful, beautiful copper color. This is that silk, just luscious, but oi, dark, dark, dark. I'm just gonna use my finger, and yeah, I came over a little bit too far on the side, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to be using that primer potion in just a second. You saw I probably wiped some of the excess off a little bit. So I just did that not too long ago. This is a tricky palette because of the color story here. Just want to make sure everything's nice and smooth.
Charlotte says, hello, love your live streams.
Oh, yay! Hello, Charlotte.
Heather, did you try the Tatty Beauty palette? It's one of my faves, says Brandis.
No, I'm open to it though. Like, I'm not against influencer brands, even if I'm not really familiar with the influencer. Like, I'll buy anything that's good. Like, I'm pretty neutral. I even have like some Jeffree Star stuff because my opinion is I already bought it. He's already got my money, so no matter if he's a terrible person, like, I already paid for it. I'm gonna use it if it's here.
Right, I've made a note of that in my notepad. So.
Thank you, honey. All right, so I'm gonna clean this up a little. Because, yeah, you can probably see I'm struggling. I'm actually, before I do that though, let me put some of this on my under eye region. I'm gonna go in with that exact same brush, the Builder one by Sonia G.
Hello in Australia, Angel.
I'm gonna use the suntan color again. I don't want to go too dark. I don't want to use the magma down here because it's gonna look dark no matter what. So
Liquid hot magma.
yes.
Dr. Evil. Anyway. They're liking your eyes so far, Heather. They're liking your eyes.
Fantastic.
Lots of positive comments.
Well, they're gonna get better, I promise. Because to me it's shocking because I don't use these colors very often. But I was playing around with it yesterday and I was able to make it work. So we'll see how it goes. All right, anytime I stop talking.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Waiting for cremated today. I'm trying to catch up with these comments. Get nothing for a while and then an avalanche. I'm like, oh crap, I'm missing stuff. Brenda says you're blending like a pro.
Thank you.
Never tried shadow under the eye, says Dawn. I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
Waiting for cremated today.
I so wanted that, but I have ColourPop's Blow and Smoke palette, which is so similar, and I haven't really done much with it. Like it's one of those ones where it's so stark that I'm still trying to figure out what my inspiration is for that one. But I've been looking at that one and it does look really cool. I actually have some of the lip glosses though. Like I have Corner's Kiss and Gravedigger. And I know some people really object to the fact that like he came out with that stuff during a pandemic, but of course he did. He's Jeffree Star. Like he's going to do the tackiest possible thing. It's kind of his shtick.
Good morning, Victoria. And Serene says your eyes look so green with that palette. Beautiful.
Right?
Heather, what would be your 3 desert island makeup products?
Oh man. Well, probably something with some kind of SPF in it if I'm on a desert island. So it would probably be like maybe It Cosmetics, CC Plus, SPF 50. That would probably be in there somewhere. Probably some kind of tinted lip balm, probably like Clinique's, one of Clinique's Chubby Sticks. I like their chunky cherry color. That's really luscious. Just something to keep them hydrated. And mascara, because obviously. All right. Okay, so now I gotta get in here with some lighter colors because this is gonna be a lot. So I'm gonna take this Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion. The color on this is a tinted primer. This is in the color Eden. This is real old school stuff. It comes with this applicator. I don't understand why, because I would not use this to directly apply things to my eyelid. Just saying. What I'm gonna do instead is use this synthetic brush. This is a MAC 195. I'm using a synthetic brush for this because I want it to just lay down flat and I don't want it to absorb any of the product at all. You know, and most of the brushes I've been using so far for this look have been very much natural brushes because I'm working with powders. So this is a little bit different. And that's what I did, just put it on my hand.
Lori says, love Jeffree Star's liquid lips, perfect for masks. Once dry, they do not smudge.
His liquid mattes are made of magic. I don't understand how they managed to pull that off with that formula, but for wow, like usually I hate liquid lipsticks because that drying agent also dries my lips out, but that stuff is no joke. It's very good. All right, I'm basically just gonna tap this right in the center, and so I have to kind of look down and look forward at the same time.
Have you ever used Doll 10 makeup?
No.
Says Joanne Witzel.
What's that about?
Don't know. Never heard of it.
Yeah, tell
You're
us.
asking the wrong guy.
I know, but tell us more. I wanna
Yeah,
know.
Joanne, let's hear more about this doll 10. Let's have a comment. No, I didn't see the moving rocks, but the spot was closed, hence why. Ah, I see. Okay. Serene went to Death Valley for her holidays this year. Adam's family memories.
And that's social distancing at its finest.
That's what you said earlier. Really beautiful and easy to social distance. I'm going again when it's not summer.
I might have to put a little bit more primer on here, but at least, oh no, I think I got it. I don't want to use too much of this stuff.
Doll 10 you can get on HSN and QVC.
All right.
Let me make a note of that.
Yeah. Because I may not have to look at their websites because I don't get cable.
Okay.
All right.
Right, that's made a note of. Doris Dalton is Doll 10. They have a great brow product if your brows are sparse.
Ooh, I do love brow products. I have way too many brow products and I'm always looking for more. Oh man. I'm trying to find a nice, here, we'll use this pencil brush. I don't want something natural. I want to use something kind of synthetic and I'm just going to kind of tap, tap, tappy, tap.
Dawn says, does everyone use primer before putting eye makeup on? And if so, what brand has eye primer?
I think it just depends on the kind of look you're trying to achieve. I think that you don't always need shadow primer. Like a lot of shadows are very nice and grabby without it. But what it does do is two things. And eyeshadow primer, I can do without face primer sometimes, but eyeshadow primer is a great thing if you're using eyeshadow that has a lot of pigment or a lot of red tones in it, or anything with like a pure black tone, which will have like carmine and red tones in it, because they can be very staining. And primer will help protect the skin of your eye from getting stained. So that's a really great reason to use it. And depending on the kind of primer you use, it can actually help you achieve different kinds of looks. And any of you, please feel free to pipe in if you have any feedback about what I'm saying, or if you want to correct me or anything, because I'm not an MUA. I'm just a novice, and I'm not opposed to, you know, helpful suggestions and that sort of thing. If it helps us all, then I'm down with it as long as it's constructive.
Yeah,
so
we've got some good chiming in here.
Oh, good.
Discussion between the folks. It says, let's see, Kim, hi Kim says, love Doll 10 foundation, also a great line. Let's see, Doll 10 has less chemicals and no animal testing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Milani has a good drugstore price point eye primer.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, makeup doesn't always have to be this expensive, because this Natasha Denona stuff is not cheap. It's definitely on the higher end. But you don't always need to go that high end to get a cute look. And in my I've Got Nudes for You series, I'm definitely trying a whole bunch of different price points. I've got some ColourPop nudes. I've got some Maybelline nudes I want to try. So I'm really trying to make sure I get a little bit of something for everybody in there. But yeah, back to primers really briefly. Like, some primers have kind of a silicone feel to it. And they're a little bit slick and slippery, and the makeup will just kind of glide right onto it. That's really nice. This is more of a grabby primer, this MAC 24-hour eyeshadow base. It's very grabby. It's meant to last all day. And so it really does impede blending if you're using cheap makeup. If you're using something like this Natasha Denona, it will still blend nicely, even with that kind of grabby primer. But you have to be really careful with the cheaper mattes, because they already are dry to begin with in a lot of cases, and blending them out with that kind of primer is very, very tricky.
And Jerry Lynn says e.l.f. products are great and inexpensive.
I have some of their highlighters. They're very, very good. And some of their little mini eyeshadow palettes, they do really nice foils and shimmers, because they're easier for the lower end brands to pull off.
Cha-Cha, who is a makeup artist, says eyeshadow primer, highly recommended, especially for aging skin. Too Faced Shadow Insurance 24-hour anti-crease primer is awesome. Little goes a long way. Apply with brush, let dry and set.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Victoria loves e.l.f. primer as well. Serene says, used to be heavily involved in theatre and started Pond's cold cream, but discovered DHC deep cleansing oil worked just as well and less reactive on my skin, doesn't stay oily.
That's awesome.
I'll write that down, shall I?
Yes, please do.
DHC deep cleansing.
All right, now I'm gonna go in with this lighter shade. This is the, where did I put my thingy for the midnight sun? Okay, so this is the Astral Solstice. It's really nice, and I like it for this look because it's a little bit sheer. It's not one of those things where it's like got almost like a matte base, you know. It's definitely sheer, which is why we had to lay the primer down. Here, I'll swatch this really quick before I put it on because it's like a disco ball. It's so rad. Pat McGrath does not play with her shimmery eyeshadows. Like, let me get this light on it a little bit.
Wow, that's shiny.
Right?
Glitter ball, Heather.
Oh, it's so good. That's another downfall of this Natasha Denona palette. There are no shimmers. Like, no, like, glittery shimmers. It's all metallics, which is harder for me to pull off. The glitter is easier for aging eyes, weird as that might sound, because it has a less even surface, so it doesn't settle as easily into fine lines, whereas metallics, because they glide on and they're really smooth. Here, and I'll swatch one just for the sake of argument. Let me go ahead and swatch this. Let's do True Copper here up in the top, and I'll also do the High Degree just so you can see what they look like. I gotta wipe my hand off. Getting ahead of myself. All right.
Dawn suggests for more expensive Laura Gellar and Mally.
Ooh, I'm willing to check them out.
I've made a note.
Yeah, make a note for sure.
Already done.
All right, my hand's a little sparkly already, but just by comparison, there's the difference between a shimmer and something that's really foiled. You can see how much more pigment is in these foiled colors. It's they're very, very intense. Put some more of that High Degree on here so it's a nice big smudge.
Have you tried Tati's Warm Neutral palette?
No, I'm hearing great things about Tati. I should check out her stuff. Yeah, I realize after I buy stuff that they're actually like influencer brands because I don't always know who the folks are. Like, I knew who Jeffree Star was. It's hard not to know who he is. And I knew who Pat McGrath was because she's been around for a hot minute as like a very well-known makeup artist. I also know who Wayne Goss is because I believe Nancy, who helps us moderate our Moon Kitty mix-up group, she actually, I think, was the one who suggested Wayne Goss to me a few years back, and I love him. I love people who are no nonsense. Who's the other one? Robert Welsh, I want to say his name is. He's also very like classy English. I have a theme, I have a type, but classy English, you know, just there's not a whole lot of shade when they're critiquing people's looks. They just critique the technique and not the people. I appreciate that. So yeah, I just had to wipe my hand off so I don't smear glittery eyeshadow in places I don't want it. And now I'm going to take that Pat McGrath Astral Blitz and put it here, or Solstice, or what was that called again, Nigel? Can you look in the palette again, because I forgot the name of this shadow. It's this one at the bottom corner here. Can you see?
No, I can't. Oh, that one there?
Yeah.
Oh, well, before I do that, Louise McDowell says, I learned so much watching you.
Oh, yay, good. And I learn a lot from watching other people, so if I can turn you on to any of the folks who've inspired me, that would make me happy.
Which one are you doing?
It's this silvery platinum-y color.
That's called Astral Solstice.
I was so close. Okay, so Astral Solstice is the name of this color.
Whatever the hell that means.
Yeah. See, another issue with this Natasha Denona palette having so many metallics is I don't necessarily like all that stuff up in my crease if I can help it. Like, I don't mind blending this in because, you know, the whole point of cutting a crease is it's slightly above where your natural crease is. And I don't even mind getting some of that shimmer up in here a little bit, kind of spreading that love. Just a little bit. So it's not harsh. But, you know, I don't want the whole crease to be nothing but shimmers. I know that that's something that's hotly debated in the makeup community where, you can't do a whole face of shimmers. You can do a whole face of shimmers. You can totally do a whole face of shimmers. And I've done it. Like when I did my Pat McGrath live stream last time around, that was a whole eye look of just shimmers. But these are so dark and they're so foiled that I just don't think they look that great in the crease. I was playing with them yesterday and it was just a hard no for me.
Joanne says, is your Larissa wig ever coming back?
Yes. Right now, it's just a matter of we're a little short-staffed due to COVID-19, and so we're just kind of taking it one day at a time and trying to get things done as quickly as possible. I mean, I mentioned in the live stream last time that we ran a contest earlier this year to name a bob that's hand-tied that we've been working on behind the scenes. And we're still planning to give that away to somebody. Somebody won. We've already picked a name. It's just I haven't had a chance to launch the product yet, and I don't want to announce it until we're ready to launch it. So it's just the classic issue of having a lot of ideas and a lot of plans and not a whole lot of time or people to help execute them, but I'm on it. Okay, so I'm going to go in really quickly with some of the colors that I already put on. I'm going to try to see if I can get away with not using more product, though. We'll see how that goes. I'm taking the brush that I used earlier because I just want it to help that halo pop a little bit more. And sometimes you just got to keep going at it. But I don't necessarily want a whole lot of extra product on here. All right, let's see if I've got enough to do this side too. I might have to dip in for this side.
Ooh, exciting. A new Sister Wig, says Dawn. Annika is my favorite still, just waiting on my color to come back.
I have to style those still. Like, they're literally in the house. Like, I have to style them. But that's, right now, I'm actually talking to a couple of different factories to see if I can, like, get them to do this instead of me hand styling them. But I'm being really, really picky because there are a lot of factories out there and not all of them do good work. Like, some of them specialize in, like, wigs that are just a little bit too cheap. And I'm fine with offering inexpensive wigs once in a while, but I don't ever want to get a reputation for selling, like, dime store gross wigs that nobody would want to wear.
Kim also asks, are there wig lines that are manufactured in the US?
Not a single one that I'm aware of that is mass produced. There are individuals who make wigs, like artisan wig makers, and there are plenty of hobbyists that make their own wigs. I had to dip back into the suntan, by the way, just to get a little bit of extra color in here. But the thing is that labor in the United States is very expensive relative to other parts of the world. No, that's not news to anybody. But I think what would be shocking is the degree of expense is pretty outrageous. And I think that a lot of people would really struggle to buy these if they were manufactured here. Now, in my dream fantasy universe, if I had, buku bucks and a big investor, one thing that I would really love to do is bring a little manufacturing operation here. Maybe, not something like ColourPop where they make a ton of different releases and, release them very quickly, but maybe specialize in something, be more like San Antonio shoes or something like that, where we only have the same kind of staple styles and we just bring out new colors once in a while. And that way people can get comfortable with them and that sort of thing. And we can make them here in this country. I would love to do that, even if most of the products are even just machine made. And my business partner and I have talked about that at great length, actually, because we both have the same dreams. Like, that's part of the reason why we went into business together. We both want to help people who have autism. We both want to help people who have, kind of unseen illnesses in general, and people who, lose their hair and, that makes them feel bad because he's like one of my best friends and he saw me go through that, and it really affected him how it affected me. And yeah, so anyway, we would both really love to bring more jobs back. I mean, I'm originally from Ohio. My whole family was like in the steel mills until there were no more steel mills. And it's like an entire generation of people up there just like don't know what to do with their lives and they end up leaving. Which is part of the reason why I ended up in Georgia. Honey, I think I need another drink. I'm still being morose.
Okay. Well, you've still got some of that. Would you like a different drink? I've got the agua fresca thingy, but I haven't named yet.
I would actually prefer more of the orangey thingy-mabob.
All right, I'll top you up.
Orange juice seems very brunch thematic.
All right.
Okay. All right, time to clean her up again a little bit. I'm still just blending this, and this is already up here, so I'm just going to try to blend some of that out so it's not quite so harsh looking. There aren't any highlight shades. Like, you know how most eyeshadow palettes have like a classic light shade that you can put up in your highlight area? There is not one of those in this palette. And so the Caucasian people so far that I've seen review this, who by the way are usually very thorough and detailed, because I tend to watch like the nerdier beauty channels. If you can't tell, that's kind of my vibe. But by the way, this brush is dynamite. This Sonia G Blender Pro is so soft. In case you're wondering what I'm using, it's clean, and I'm just trying to blend this out a little bit better. But all of the Caucasian people I have seen test this palette so far, they leave like a really obvious line here because they're trying to avoid, you know, mentioning the fact that there isn't a light highlight shade here, so they just leave the skin bare, and it's so jarring sometimes. So I'm just going to not be scared and just put this up as lightly with this clean brush as I can get it, so that way it's soft. It probably won't look this weird once I get my eyebrows drawn in. Or at least that's the theory. All right. I might add a little bit more to my crease even once I get the rest of my face painted, but I want to kind of let that breathe a little bit before I start applying more. Just so I can kind of get a feel for it, build around it, and see if I actually need more. I'm going to wipe off some of this excess. I don't want to try to cover it up with makeup because it's got a lot of color to it.
Gina says, yes, Ohio, we're moving to Georgia in a few years when my hubby retires. And Kathleen recommends Kennesaw. And Gina says, we're looking at Clayton. Northeast upper corner by the Blue Ridge Mountains. Well, that's not too terribly far from where we are.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in like the Athens area. Kathleen's been to our place.
Yeah, Kathleen.
When you gonna have us over?
House.
Yeah, when you gonna have us over so we can visit your gorgeous home? She takes Instagram shots sometimes, and her home is delicious. Yes.
My hubby loves New York. Says Dawn. Don't know why. Oi. Well, I'm not a city boy myself, Dawn, so I can sympathize completely.
I'm super excited to start tearing into my face a little bit because I can't wait to show you what I do with my concealer. So I've gotten a lot of requests to show off what I do with my concealer. So I use a lot of color correction. I do. I mean, I have to. Look at how big and gross that is. I have severe cystic acne, and so I'm on spironolactone for it. So if you have polycystic ovary syndrome and you're watching, if you're on the classic cocktail of, you know, birth control, spironolactone, metformin, preach. Been there, done that. I no longer have to take the metformin, but that's because, you know, this is like a special treat, and even this is diet. Like, it's stevia sweetened with the exception of the alcohol. So I'm usually pretty mindful of what I'm eating.
Kathleen says we're always welcome anytime.
Oh, fantastic. Yes. Well, okay, so I'm using this brush, which is a Morphe brush. This is a Morphe X Jaclyn Hill brush. Again, I don't have an affiliate code with Morphe. I just really like this brush. It's the JH08. It's a really fluffy yet dense brush. It's great for stippling. So, oh yeah. And I'm going to kind of get this all up in here. It's going to look super nuts until it doesn't.
Right, so I was talking about the agua fresca thing earlier. Now, this Heather wanted me to have a couple drinks recipes ready to go for this brunch type thing today, so I came up with something. About a week ago, Heather went out to the various liquor stores and supermarkets and got mixers and drinks and stuff like that. And I came up with something on the spur of the moment yesterday based on what she got. And I wanted to call it the green streak because all the ingredients are green and it tastes zippy, but Heather said that sounds like what you see on your sleeves if you have a cold. So, might have to call it vodka fresca or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I'll show you what this contains a bit, but before that, let's see here.
I'm not using any additional product. I just want to get a little bit of that color correction on my nose because I got splotches. And any other place where I have little bits of red splotch, I'm just going to take this without any additional application of product and just kind of stipple that a little bit into there. I use a lot of color correction in my makeup.
Funny you should say that because Kathleen just asked, what is your favorite color correcting line?
Oh, I have not really discovered what my favorite is yet. I'm still sort of playing around. This one is Ofra, and this is their Magic Roulette. It's pretty good, but they're coming out with a lot more, and so I haven't actually... I mean, I've tried the Ben Nye one, and that one's also pretty solid. It's just a little bit too creamy for me, but it's a lot stronger, so I wouldn't have to necessarily go over it as many times as I'm doing with this Ofra one.
Okay, this vodka fresca or whatever it's going to be called. Name to be determined. This starts off with some Stolichnaya lime. About half a measure of that. A little bit there. There, it's very tangy, so you don't need a heck of a lot of it. Then you go with the Smirnoff Zero Sugar Infusions Watermelon and Mint Vodka.
Ooh.
And you put about twice as much of that in. That's about a full measure.
Alright, just while he's doing that, I'm going to gently wipe this off with a paper towel. I'm not going to try to take all of it off. And I'm actually going to go into the yellow now. That is right here.
And then you top it up with water to dilute. Now you can also add a little touch of fresh squeezed lime juice. I tried that yesterday, and that was very, very tangy. Oh, no, I mixed that wrong.
Okay, well, while you do your redo, I'm going to explain what I'm doing.
I'll be right back.
Okay, he's on it, though. I'm going in with the yellow, and I'm gently going over this. I don't want to go over it too much, because I don't want to turn this into bright, seafoam green or something like that. But I'm just doing it because my skin tone has a little bit of yellow in it, and I want it to blend when I put the rest of my concealer on top. And then around the periphery, I'm putting more of the yellow in and kind of pulling it, so that way it actually blends out a little bit. That'll make it easier for me to keep it from looking like an obvious patch. Right now, The Weeknd is playing. This is such a weird playlist I made. I used to share my Spotify playlist with folks. If you guys want me to ever share any of these, let me know. Because I tend to listen to very eclectic music because I get bored easily, so they shift around a lot. You can already see it's starting to look a little softer now, which is crazy because that was just green 2 seconds ago. I'm going to gently wipe this off again. Well, actually, you know what? Instead of doing that, I'm going to go over these areas with the yellow with the residual product. Since I did that in the rest of the spots. Hold on a second, honey. I'm going to finish telling them about my concealer routine.
I'll get the ingredients up again.
Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is going to sound wackadoo, but it's this orangey bronzish color here. All right, so I'm going to just tap that into the dark circles under my eye. And this is not the red color. This is the one that's got a little bit of a yellow tint to it. Because I'm trying to get it to the point where I don't need a full coverage foundation for this look. I want my skin to breathe through it a little bit. So we're actually going to be using a NARS tinted moisturizer. But I need to be able to cover these zits and everything else before we go to that point. And there is not a lot of powder to this look. I want to keep it kind of dewy. Otherwise, it will just look really, really heavy and aging with this really dramatic eye makeup.
Lisa says, good morning, just came on. Is this product cruelty-free?
I do not know. Like, I am pretty oblivious to that kind of thing, honestly. But it's an offer product. They would probably say on their website. It might be, but I don't want to say for sure because a lot of the stuff I buy ends up being cruelty-free. Just because I tend to gravitate towards brands that have that kind of messaging, but it's not something I'm specifically looking for. I'm mainly looking for things that won't make my face break out, if I'm being honest. That's one of the chief criteria I have. Is it going to make my eyes hurt? Is it going to make me break out?
Dawn says, Heather and Nigel, is there a place where you have all the names of the brushes and brands listed?
No, but we can definitely put that in the description once this is all done. I didn't want to put that in there beforehand because I practiced this look for several hours last night just to kind of get used to these colors because this is definitely different from my norm. But I wanted to leave it a little bit loose up until I know for a fact what I'm using today. So you can see I'm not using a lot at once. I'm just stippling the living daylights out of it and trying to make sure it looks really, really soft and color corrected because I don't want to over color correct with this kind of orangey color. And I'm going to use this slightly darker rusty color on this really dark spot here under my eye. And I'm not using a lot of product at all, just tapping it in and then tapping it on. Maybe blend the two a little bit. Get a little bit more of that orangey one in there. And just keep playing around till it starts to look a little bit more like I don't have giant bags under my eyes. All right, now I'm gonna take a little bit of that yellow and I'm gonna take that on the periphery and kind of stipple that in.
And while you're doing that, I'll make this drink correctly this time. So, as said before, Stolichnaya lime vodka. Half a measure of that. A little bit of that. Smirnoff Zero Sugar Infusions Watermelon and Mint Vodka. 1 measure of that. Then, this is the ingredient I left out. Trader Joe's Margarita Mix. Yeah, there you go. Get about half of that, half a glass full. There you go. And then you top it up with water. And that makes that sort of aqua vodka fresca thing I was talking about that I wanted to call Green Streak, but Heather said it reminded her too much of...
No, that's terrible. Don't call a drink.
Terrible name, great taste.
Don't call it that.
Well, I've already made one called a Green Meanie, so...
That's different, though. That's like a Beatles reference. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my Laura. Thank you, though. Are you going to drink that?
Do you want it?
I want to try it.
There you go.
Okay, at least before I put my lips on. That's quite nice. I think I would need it diluted just a little bit. I'm a total lightweight.
No worries, my sweet.
But it's very good.
Well, now that I know you like it, I can mix more for you.
Awesome.
I'm going to go put that margarita mix back in the fridge.
Okay, I'm going back to makeup stuff, honey.
Right.
I love
I'll be
him.
right back.
You're adorable and I love you. So this is the Laura Mercier. This is like one of my favorite concealers ever. This is the Secret Camouflage in SE1. I think it's the lightest color they make. But I love that it's got 2 different tones. Creamy, delicious, blends well. Love it. I'm going to take the lighter tone and I'm going to stipple that onto this part here. And I want to kind of go like that a little bit. Oh, man. And I am going to take out a beauty blender, and when I'm putting my moisturizer on, blend all of this even more. I've got the sponge moistened and on the ready. I might re-moisten it a little bit with some spritz. But yeah, I appreciate concealer, especially a good concealer that has such a nice soft appearance. It's not completely mattifying, but it's also not necessarily super shiny. It's just a really, really nice creamy concealer. And again, just kind of tapping concealer, that lighter color onto here. Now I might have to go back in with some more color correction. I don't know yet. We will figure that out after the foundation is on. Sometimes you gotta layer this stuff.
Does anyone else stain their glasses with their lipstick? As in drinking glasses, says Lori.
I have sometimes.
It's okay, that's what dishwashers are for.
Well, no. I think she means like permanently stained. I've done that with a mug before.
Mm.
Yeah, some lipsticks are powerful. I know it still looks crazy. It won't look like that forever, though. We put a little bit of this here. Hello.
Yeah, I'm gonna dilute this a bit more.
When I have to do color correction, I really, really, really take my time with it, because I want to stipple instead of schmear. Put a little bit more there. But I love it when people are like, "You have perfect skin," and I'm like, "Aw, I really don't at all. My skin is problematic."
Gina says lip sense doesn't come off till you take it off.
I have not tried any of their stuff, though people contact me on Instagram and Facebook about it once in a while. All right, I think it's time for some foundation, and then we'll come back to this. I'm actually gonna, since we're going all out, I'm going all out, and I'm using 2 different kinds of foundations to achieve this look. Actually, you could argue 3. But none of them are full coverage with the exception of the powder-based one. I'm just spraying. This was moistened with water, but I'm rehydrating it superficially with a little bit of Moisture Surge face spray by Clinique because I got it handy and it feels nice. Okay, very, very good. I'm going to go in. Where is my foundation? This is the foundation I'm using today. This is it's not a foundation. It's the NARS Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturizer. It's got SPF 30 in it, and the color is, hello, Finland. Finland. We had to listen to the Monty Python Finland song yesterday after I showed Nigel that was the name of this color. Okay. Applying with the sponge. Getting it all up on there. And just beating it. Beat it. Beat it. Get yourself a face and beat it. I don't know. I wish I could have the music playing without it like dinging me for copyright. It'd be so much better if you could hear what we were listening to. Instead, I will have to give you my artistic interpretations. This stuff is super, super, super light coverage, at least compared to the stuff I'm used to using, which is like Derma Blend and like really, really hardcore stuff. And I'll probably put more on because I gotta make sure this full coverage stuff down here doesn't look like that. Nigel, honey.
I'm working. I'm trying to find these here. Hey, where is your background music? We don't have We're trying to not have background music because copyright people get testy.
Yeah, I don't want this to get accidentally monetized.
Yeah.
I try not to monetize my content.
Lori says, I'm still gobsmacked by doing the ice first. We'll try it this week. Yeah, someone was mentioning earlier That seems to be the trend these days.
Yeah, no, it depends on the kind of shadows. Like if I'm using a really good matte and it's just mattes, no worries. If there's no fallout, no worries. But what I want to avoid is getting a lot of extra glitter down here in places I don't want it, because I'm gonna be applying a lot of dewy stuff in this particular routine, and you know, too much glitter in too many places, it looks like I'm about to go to a discotheque and not brunch. So I'm trying to keep it thematic. Now, usually I prefer to use brushes when I'm applying stuff, but because I knew that I, you know, had challenged skin today, and because I was going to be using a tinted moisturizer instead of a full coverage foundation, I wanted to make sure that I got as much coverage and as natural looking coverage as possible. So a sponge was, in my opinion, the better option here. I am going to take my, I notice it's a little streaky here, so I'm just gonna, that's probably my fault, so I'm just gonna blend it a little bit more here. Is that just the light, or is that the mascara? No, here we go. Not mascara, the eyeshadow. I didn't put any extra shadow on the brush, by the way, just because it's already pretty heavily pigmented, and I'm just kind of trying to blend it out. Okay. That's not quite as jarring now.
Alrighty, I'm just typing up the drink recipes on the comments, so you'll find that in the comments section. Got one more to go, and then we're ready for it.
All right, I'm gonna go back in with a little bit more color correction. Actually, I'm half tempted just to see if the foundation itself will do that, like because I'm going to be using some of this CC Plus Airbrush Perfecting Powder by IT Cosmetics. I'm going to use it specifically just on the bits that have the zits, because it'll mattify it and kind of cover up that texture. But I think just to be on the safe side, I'm going to put a little bit of extra green down first, just on those spots where it's really, 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 really angry looking.
Nigel. Yeah, I'm looking for comments. 1 second.
Ask questions if you have any, and that way he has something to read out loud, because when I get quiet, I want him to be able to like talk back at you guys, and I think he's struggling a little bit, so let's help him out and ask some good questions.
Yeah. Oh, I bought Plexiderm to try. Ugh, it leaves a tan residue, but it did tighten my wrinkles, says Dawn.
Ooh. I don't know about, I'm always, like, residue in makeup makes me upset, because I worry about that making my face break out.
Okay, just typing up the vodka fresca recipe here.
All right. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the CC Plus Perfecting Powder, and I'm just going to go in with the exact same sponge, because whatever. And I want to make sure that all that green down here is also well concealed. It's not perfect, but it's getting there.
Excuse me a second, I'm going to blow out this mouse.
What's on the mouse?
I don't know, every so often this mouse, it doesn't respond properly when I'm trying to scroll, so I have to lift it up and twiddle the wheel and blow in the well to clear it out of dust or something. I don't know, but
I'm going back in with that Laura Mercier. I know I'm taking my time with this, and it's probably taken a while, but it's tricky when you have hardcore zits and you're not trying to use like super, super heavy foundation. It does take a little bit of patience.
by the way, says Serene, love the new Moon Kitty merch.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to try to keep designing more. I've been enjoying that a lot. You know, it just figured it'd be something a little bit different. I know probably better than anybody, that the wigs are not cheap because I'm paying for all of mine out of pocket, like you guys. And, you know, so I don't get a lot of samples from the manufacturers. And, you know, to a certain extent, that's kind of a good thing because, you know, then I don't have to, you know, be beholden to anybody. I can just say whatever I feel. But the thing is, I'm always cognizant of the expense of it, which is part of the reason why I like being able to talk about makeup. It's a little bit more accessible. It's a little bit less expensive. And same thing with the merch. The merch is less expensive in a lot of cases than the wigs. And so if people want to support us and just rep us, and I left the name of the brand off in case you don't want Hi, I Wear Wigs basically being on the merch, but I may make a couple of pieces that have that option in case people want it.
Let's see, we've got here. Has anyone tried the eye tape for hooded eyes? I believe that's Susan that says that. I tried a brand from Amazon and it really does work.
I have tried various kinds of tapes. I'm a big fan of the Mark Trainer tapes. But I don't really have super hooded eyes. I mean, I lost some weight in my eyelids, so they're getting there. Probably in a, you know, by the end of the decade they'll be in that position, but they're not quite there yet. So I'm fortunate in that I still have kind of a big eye area to play with.
Dawn's out for the moment, but thanks for dropping by, Dawn. It's
Yes,
been great.
thank you so much. And of course, this will be up for you to watch if you want to check back in later. Okay, so I want to show you, like, again, not completely perfect. I'm not really aiming for perfection. I'm just aiming for, hey, I don't have gigantic zits that are really super obvious on my jawline, and I think I've more or less accomplished that. I'm probably gonna let that sit for a second before I consider putting any more on, because I don't want to overdo it and just cake that up with product, because then that will become an eyesore too. As many of you already know. But if I need to, I do have some of this stuff, which is super heavy duty. This is the Bye Bye Under Eye by IT Cosmetics Full Coverage Anti-Aging Waterproof Concealer. The color is light. If I feel like that is still a problem, I can go and stipple some of this on top of the red spots, but I'm pretty much okay with the way it's looking at the moment.
I got two things here. Molly says, I'm concerned with my new expensive Pat McGrath palettes. They say the cream finish has a strict expiration date.
Oh no! Oh gosh, I hope not. I just bought a whole bunch of those things.
And Cheryl Crook says, what is the best color correct bluish under eye?
Oh, that will be something to investigate. That's something you got to play around with. For me, I like to use orange. I think the rule of thumb, generally speaking, and some of you may be better at this than me, so chime in, please, if you are. But you want to use complementary colors because they kind of cancel each other out and neutralize each other. So if it's really blue, orange is usually the way you want to go. If it's got kind of a greeny tint to it, then you'll want to stick to something that's you know, going to have like orange with a little bit more of a yellow tint. That's why they give you the two different kinds of orangey red, by the way, in palettes like this usually, because they've got one that's got slightly more of a yellow base and one that's got slightly more of a bluish base. So that way, if it's a little bit more green, you can pull a little bit more yellow, and if it's a little bit more true blue, you can pull the opposite direction. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, you want to aim for the oranges and then maybe even a little bit of yellow, depending on whether or not, like if you don't have yellow in your skin, like a whole lot of yellow in your skin, then you want to put a little bit of that yellow in there because it will help kind of neutralize that a little bit. At least that's what my understanding of the matter is. I'm going to use some contour now because I want to look like I'm going to the beach or something. So I'm going to use my Sonia G Sculpt 4. Love this. I love her sculpting brushes. I know some people think fan brushes are overrated. I'm not that person. I think they're great. You just got to make sure you're using a good fan brush. This is really, really, really compact, and it's got a slight angle to it, so you can utilize that to really carve out that jaw. And I'm actually going to use the darkest color in this palette, but just really sparingly. Now, there's a lot of kickback in this powder contour. Did you just see that? I love the color of this particular powder. I just don't like the fact that it kicks back so much. So I'm gonna go slightly above where my natural like cheekbones are, and a lot of you already know that that's a great way to go. But for me specifically, I'm doing it to kind of even out my face. about a decade ago, I had a really horrible accident at a water park, and you know, long story short, it changed the symmetry of my face. It actually disrupted the way the fat was placed on this side of my face, and so I actually have asymmetry issues. But I tried to correct that with the makeup, and try to pull the eye up so that way, you know, what's going on that's asymmetrical down here is not so obvious. I'm also using fillers with the help of a plastic surgeon gradually as I can afford it to try to counteract some of that as well. But that's a work in progress due to the expense. And I'm turning it this way to just trying to get that softened out because it is such a dark color.
Sherry says, what's your current favorite wig?
Oh goodness. Honestly, I'm in love with my Rosella and she's sold out, so I hate saying that because I hate being like, hey guys, I love this thing you can't buy. Hey, it's like Cartman Land, but with wigs. But no, I'm actually contemplating doing another run of that. So if you guys have any interest in that Rosella that I made in the Raspberry Cocoa Frappe, if you think that I should make that again, let me know in the comments because I get asked about that all the time, particularly since it's the wig I've been wearing during the inside of the cap scenes I've been filming, and it's gorgeous. It is gorgeous, but it's one of those things where, you know, it's expensive for me to make, so I don't really make that many of these sort of limited edition things when I make them.
Serena and Lori said they don't notice any asymmetry in your head.
I love you. Like, it's super subtle. I think it's just one of those things where, you know, I stare at my own face a lot. And I'm not really a narcissist. I just have to edit my own photos and stuff for a living. So I stare at myself a lot more than I'm probably comfortable doing. And, you know, you notice these things, particularly when you're trying to apply makeup and stuff. And we're always our own worst critics, right? So I think that's probably a bit of it too. I know this looks super dramatic. It won't look that it won't look like that when I get my bronzer on. But in a certain way, we want it to be a little dramatic because, I mean, the eye makeup. So I'm just gonna kind of gently bring some of this up, and I'm not really using much of this because I've already gotten a lot of kickback, so I'm just kind of tapping it in there and trying to tap off the excess. And I'm using a super light touch. Like, I'm barely using any pressure at all up here.
Gina says, I love your honesty.
Oh, thank you. So sometimes I feel like a supreme dork for giving away all the nitty gritty details and like, but then part of me is like, well, that's how Penn and Teller built an entire career. They tell everybody what the trick is. That's their whole shtick. So, you know, there's got to be an audience for that kind of thing. I know I always find that kind of stuff really intriguing.
Love that wig. Make more. Love the color.
All right, we'll do. We'll do. Yeah, I only need about 20 people to be into it to justify making another round. So I'm going to do the exact same thing and take the edge of this, and I'm going to turn it this way and kind of carve out this. And I'm not going to go like a line because I've got zits down here. I don't want that texture to shine through. I'm kind of redrawing around it and then gently pulling down anywhere where there isn't that kind of texture. And I'm going to take the Beauty Blender to all this again because, believe it or not, I plan to apply a little bit of some Charlotte Tilbury foundation. Actually, I don't even know if it's a foundation. It's just her Flawless filter. It might be a foundation. But you can see I'm just kind of trying to trick the eye, trick the shadows. And if you're smearing it on there, you're not going to be able to get that effect. It'll just stick the color underneath any of that uneven textured area.
Never thought of that, Heather says. Lori, I catch a glimpse of myself sans makeup and think, that can't be right.
Yeah. Oh, the worst is when people take pictures from like below and then you're like, where did all of the extra chins come from? I hate that. Like, I don't like being reminded of the turkey waddle I still have. I'm grateful that as I lost weight, my chin became just like 3 times its normal size, much like the Grinch's heart, and it hides a multitude of sins. Thank goodness. Just kind of blending, blending, blending. This entire look needs to be blended to an outrageous extent, or else it will look ridiculous. Okay, we got that part done. I'm not going to put the blush on yet, though, because I'm going to put a little bit of this Hollywood Flawless Filter for a Superstar Youth Glow. This is a Charlotte Tilbury product. I don't even know if this is a foundation. To me, this is almost like a liquid highlighter. It's so dewy looking. And this is in the color number 2, Light Claire.
Liz says, I want an Annika in your darkest color and something like a Lexi, but with a mono top.
Ooh. That would be intriguing. Like, Lexi is I mean, Alexi or Lexi?
Alexi.
Alexi is so cute.
I'm going to make a note of that one.
We've actually developed a wig that's very similar to Alexi, but has a micro bang. And, what the heck? And it has a monofilament center part. But I don't know if I'm going to run with it or not. Now, what I'm doing, just in case you're wondering, is I'm taking some of this Flawless Filter by Charlotte Tilbury, and I'm just running it up here almost like it is a highlighter. And look how shiny that is. Can you see that? That sheen?
Hang on, I've frozen up here.
I'm going to move my head a little bit. Maybe you can see it.
There we go. All right.
But like super, 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 super glossy looking. But it's still very subtle. Like, it's one of those things that just kind of catches the light. It's really, really pretty. I'm going to take that over here.
Natalie says, I've been rocking my raspberry frappe rosella all week and I've never had so many compliments. I feel so cool.
Yay! I'm so glad you like that color. I am obsessed with that color ever since we came up with it. And it's not just because it's my baby. It's just I love how it turned out. I'm super excited by it. So I'm only applying this here for now, and maybe a little bit up in this corner. Now, I know some folks like to draw a heart here with highlighter. I have texture up here, so if anything, I want it to be slightly more mattified. So I'd rather put the highlighter here where this part of my brow catches the light. Maybe a little bit on the chin, but I'm not going to put it on my nose just yet. Just because this provides a nice contrast to all that matte, crazy, high coverage stuff. All right. We're getting there. We're almost done, honestly. Most of the tough stuff's over. I'm going to take this powder brush. This is a Morphe E34, so it's probably more of a blush brush. And I'm just going to tap some more of that It powder I was mentioning over the contour line here, and maybe a little bit here. And a little bit up here, because I don't want this to be... I want it to look a little dewy. I just don't want it to look crazy because, again, the texture is not perfect. But by doing this, see how that because this is kind of a smooth area of my face to begin with, that just really makes it look so fresh. I'm going to use a little bit of this Cali Kissed from Smashbox. I'm probably going to go in with the exact same brush, honestly. And I'm going to use this color down here. What's that called? The Crank It Up Rose. And it's kind of got a metallic sheen to it. It's a little bronzy, but also kind of pinkish, almost like a rosewood color. And I'm going to gently put some of that in there right around here, just to give me a little bit of color.
Okay, Ali says, hey Heather, love your live streams. Finally caught one live. Would you be able to do a look in the future that's good for an office setting? Would love to
Oh
see
yeah,
take on
I've
that.
got a whole bunch of nude looks coming up. We're gonna call it "Have I Got Nudes for You?" And I've been investing in a lot of different nude palettes, and they would all be very office appropriate. So that's gonna be coming soon.
Yeah, so we've got you covered, Ali, for a future future installment.
Yeah, this is definitely, you would look like a drag queen, I think. I would look like a drag queen if I wore this to the office. It's a little extra. This is definitely like nightclub makeup or something like that.
Liz says that evolving makeup makes your eyes look more and more magical. Well, I've always thought they were magical, he said smoothly.
Yes, you're very smooth, dear. I'm going to set this and then work on my brows. Then I'm going to put my eyeliner on and we'll go from there. I just don't want anything to mess any of this up because it took forever. Because we're going dewy and we're not using powder. Notice I didn't break out like much powder. The only thing I used powder-wise was that It Cosmetic stuff I mentioned. And I only used it in strategic areas to mattify the texture. So now I'm going to use this Dewy Setting Spray by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Okay, ready to go. My beef with this stuff is you have to hold it really far away from your face, by the way, because if you don't, it leaves a big greasy smudge and it can be very streaky looking. So you got to hold it very far away. And the other thing is it has a fragrance. I don't like fragranced makeup. I think that, you know, if you have sensitive skin, that's kind of something you got to use with caution. And so has a fragrance, just so you know. It's not strong and it's not unpleasant. It's just there. And I might even put a little bit extra. I can't see what I'm doing. Put it on my eyes a little bit just to kind of help lock that down. All right, well, I'm waiting for that to kind of settle in. I'm going to work on my brows, then we'll work on the eyeliner, and then we'll be done, basically. So
Sherry's got a question.
Sure.
I'm not sure if you want to address it now or in a comment afterwards. It says, I don't see many people of color doing brand name wig reviews. Why do you think that is?
That's a great question, and I will be more than happy to divulge that information. So, all right, I can't do it while I'm doing my makeup, though, because it's kind of a complicated topic. So I will just dive right in, because I'm not afraid of this stuff. Now, in full disclosure, when I tried it, I have had issues, and sometimes I'm still scared of it, honestly, that people will take these kind of conversations out of context, splice them up, and try to make it sound like I'm a horrible racist monster. So as long as this isn't the kind of conversation that's going to be used against me, just know I want to help change the problem. I don't want to be a part of it. And I feel like that starts with talking about it. This is a segregated marketplace. It's a segregated product. We have to be aware of it. There is a very practical reason why that is, though. And so we can't just assume malicious intention right off the bat, because there is a practical reason why this happened over time. Because predominantly medical wigs are worn by white women. And fashion wigs tend to be worn by basically everybody else. Though there is a lot of crossover. And the more we talk about this on social media, the more everybody reps the products and talks about it openly, the more people will feel comfortable buying from both sides of the fence. I have tried to bring Black Beauty Supply wig brands to the store, like Sensationelle, and they literally would not take my call. And then when I finally got them to take the call, they laughed at me and told me, this is why I don't carry their brand. They laughed at me and straight up told me that black women won't buy wigs from a white woman and that white women won't buy wigs that have a black model in the photo. I don't agree with any of that. What I think it is, honestly, is that it's easier for people to buy anything if they see people who look like them repping the products. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy sort of deal, in my opinion, where if you only use, you know, pale models with blue eyes or creamy caramel skinned goddesses with brown eyes for either of your product lines, then people who have that kind of complexion and that kind of coloration are going to go for those brands because they get to have an idea of what the colors of the product. What's more important than wig color when you're buying a wig? It's like one of the most important things ever. It's why we get so many returns. It's because the color's off. So color matters, and it's not necessarily a racist thing. It's just if you don't see somebody who looks like you repping the product, how are you going to know what it's going to look like? So, you know, it's you don't agree. So please tell me more, because I have been literally laughed at and told these things. And what I think is that, you know, it's literally easy for everybody to see things that that have people repping them that look like them. So if anything, we should all strive to be more inclusive, is basically my argument. Like, I think that all of the brands should be offering, you know, what these products look like on all kinds of people, not just people of different skin tones, but like big girls, differently abled people, maybe some women with scars, maybe some men once in a while. You know, some brands have been doing some of this stuff, but I think they need to be a little bit more aggressive about it to be more accessible to more people. You know what I mean?
Sherry says, I don't agree either, but thank you for talking about it. I'm an Asian in my 20s and I plan to do some wig reviews. You're a big inspiration.
Yes, definitely. Please do, because you're definitely a minority in this part of the wig industry and in, you know, the black beauty supply type of wigs. And I think we all need, you know, to have our... I think that the more people who talk and the more different kinds of voices are in this space, the better it will be for literally everyone, because that's that many more unique perspectives that we can offer about, you know, how these products work, how they don't work. And who knows, that might be helpful to somebody somewhere down the line.
Yeah, get everyone in on the fun and someone's going to find something helpful.
Boom. Yeah. Totally. And I think that this is why you don't see many people of color in this part of the marketplace, which was the original question, yes, if I remember correctly. It's because, you know, the vast, it's a cultural thing in a lot of cases. Like the vast majority of wig wearers in the world, or at least in America, are women of color. And culturally, they are initiated to wigs a lot earlier on for various reasons that are very complicated. Chris Rock covers it very beautifully in the documentary Good Hair. So if you're ever curious about an in-depth explanation, I recommend that as a source. He does a really good job with that. But it's a complicated subject. But anyway, when women of color tend to lose their hair, they already have experience with wigs and they know how to modify them to make them work for them at a slightly lower price point. Plus, there's not as much of a taboo against wig wear, so they're not necessarily in the market to do things that hide the fact that they're wearing the hair. They're a little bit more out and proud about it. Culturally speaking, I'm speaking very broadly. And I am wrapping this up, I promise. But, you know, that is not the same in every community, even communities of different, you know, ethnicities and backgrounds that aren't necessarily white. Like it's not the same. There's still a stigma in a lot of different communities and cultures about women who either don't have hair or don't have long hair. So, yeah, that's the exact right. Someone was saying that it has something to do with age. That's the other point. Gina is exactly right. Because the next thing is, because again, you kind of have to, don't assume that there's malicious intent to any of this. Because I think what it is again, just kind of a unhappy series of circumstances. And then, you know, industries get set in their ways, basically. But you know, that doesn't mean they can't change. Right? They can totally change. But I think that's the bigger point, is that, you know, people who are in those highly stigmatized cultures, you know, you don't see a lot of people historically. It's changing. We're helping to change that, all of us. So you are part of the solution just by being here and talking about these things and being part of this kind of discussion. So have hope, have faith. Things are going to get better.
Oh yeah, the mindset of your audience, and I'm talking to all you folks out there who are watching. You're really helping.
Totally.
You really are, and it's a great thing. And the more open we are about this sort of thing, the more we share, the better things will be off for everyone.
Totally. Because the reason why it seems like only, you know, slightly older people, you know, I mean, most of the people who buy these products are like about 10 years older than me, because they lose their hair due to menopause or due to cancer or due to some kind of illness that creeps in a little bit more likely when you're a little older, which is part of the reason why I started my store, by the way, because I felt alienated from the bulk of medical wigs because they were geared towards women that were like more my mom's age at the time than me. Now I'm getting a little closer to that age group myself, and the products are a little bit more relatable. But at the time, I felt like there was a real need. But it's because that stigma exists that people don't see other people in their culture who are wearing these products, so they feel like they're alone with it. They feel like they're the only one that's happening to. And they don't share the same kind of tips and tricks and information about how to buy these products. And so it usually isn't until after menopause that most medical wig wearers actually start to get into these products, and it's due to necessity, and it usually catches them really, really off guard. So by being open about this and talking about it, we're really helping all of that change little by little every single day. But that is the big reason why. It's because people of different cultures tend to have a little bit more experience with these products before menopause hits, so they are not as actively engaged in the community. And then because they don't see representations of themselves, they often feel alienated, just like I did as a young person when I first started buying medical wigs. So I have, I don't have the same experience, but I at least have that level of insight about what that goes into that. So sorry about the nerdy response there, but it's a deep topic, and I want to make sure I gave it an adequate answer instead of just saying something that would be vague and not really give any indication of just how complicated the situation is. But just know, just by talking about it, we're all helping that situation and helping it be more inclusive.
Speaking of helping and being more inclusive, I have to interject here with Natalie saying, I recently introduced my friend who is a trans woman to Sister Wigs. She had previously been only wearing cheaper fashion wigs because she wasn't aware that there were other options out there.
Yeah.
So thank you, Natalie. Much appreciated.
Yes, thank you. And we actually are big supporters of the transgender community, and we have transgender staff members. So I always appreciate that. I don't trot them out because I don't want to be like tokenism, But if they ever decide they want to join the conversation, or in this case, it's just a single staffer. So if she ever wants to join the conversation, I would love to have her in a video sometime. But
hello, Deirdre.
I'm using a rosewood color, by the way. This is the Makeup Forever Aqua Lip. I need to stop talking so I can just get this part over with. So go ahead, Nigel.
So Gina Rossi says, love the response, that honesty again. Love.
Thank you. Because it's a tricky thing to talk about. And I definitely don't ever want to imply that there's like a malicious intent to it. I just think people are really heavily entrenched in what they know works. We have to show them that other things work too.
Yeah, I mean, you get comfortable, you like something. It's human nature just to stay with what you're comfortable with.
And brands are no different because they're spending their money, so they want to be as conservative about what kind of risks they take as possible.
Exactly.
If they already know that the majority of the audience they've already got is white, then that's what they're gonna shoot models of.
Yeah. Elisa, hello Elisa, says, this is the first comment I've seen from her, says, also, love this topic and hearing people's experiences.
Oh, yes.
Excellent.
And I would love to hear more of your guys' experience, too. So please comment away, because, I mean, I don't want it to ever come across as I feel like I'm the end-all, be-all of all of these things. Like, I learn as much from you guys as you probably learn from me, so comment away, please.
Yeah, I mean, the more we learn from other people, the better we can all help each other, I think.
Totally.
I love helping people. Makes me come across as a know-it-all, but, I just like helping people.
Same. I think that's why we ended up together. we just have to know it all to each other.
We can be insufferable together.
Yay!
For the rest of eternity.
That should be our epitaph.
Yeah.
Insufferable together. In death as they were in life.
Laurie says, I go crazy with a 23-inch head and bio hair. I was afraid to ask how the trans community finds a selection in larger sizes.
That's tricky. And I think that really what gets a lot of them in trouble is some of them, not all trans women, just like not all cis women need this, but more often, particularly if they're transitioning later in life, they have slightly more space back here too at the ear to ear. And that is tricky, finding the right ear-to-ear space. But for the ones that don't have a big ear-to-ear, then, the great news is average circumference for a lot of folks who grow up biologically male, it's pretty average for a woman too. And there's a little bit of variability and they can adjust. So I haven't heard many things about them having difficulty. Really, restraining the hair underneath your cap is almost always the universal issue for most people who are having difficulty with fit. And if it's not that, then it's having that little bit of extra weight back here at the occipital ridge. that makes it flat back there. That can make it hard for anybody, regardless of your weight, regardless if you're cis or trans. That can make it rough to get the wig to stay in place. And my best advice there is, if you have bio hair, get some bobby pins, crisscross them back here at the nape, and then wear something like a wig grip over it. But you want those bobby pins back there to give the grip something to grip onto, because if you're completely flat back here, you're not really gonna have anything but a slip and slide back there. Even if you use adhesive, and even then that's a big mess sometimes. And got to be glued works if you put that on your hair. Okay. Now I'm gonna put this NARS pen. This is Valkyrie. I love this color. Again, it's kind of, yeah. It's a matte color. And it's another rosewood shade. I thought rosewoods would look really pretty with this bronze, without it being like brown and brown.
Cha-Cha says the difference in the wig industry between POC and Caucasians, it's also the reason why med wigs are so expensive. POC are more experienced with and willing to alter their wigs, i.e. cutting lace fronts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The higher end finishes that are done for you, that is about half of the reason why they're more expensive in the medical biz, because they're doing all those finishing touches for you, so you don't have to worry about learning how to do them yourself.
And Barbara says, thank you for the database of wig information you've created. I just want to get that in before you wrap it up.
Thank you. That was a labor of love that took a very long time, and is still a work in progress, so I'm glad that that's useful to you. I'm going to put a little bit of this Pat McGrath lip gloss on. This is in Dreamscape, and it's a very pretty sort of blitzy kind of color, real pretty. And I'm just tapping that on. My sleeve is being very talkative right now. I don't know if you could hear that.
Yeah, ever since the weight loss surgery, Heather refers to her stomach as her sleeve, because now it's just a long, thin tube as opposed to a stomach-shaped sack, and it gurgles a lot.
It is so noisy.
Her stomach sleeve is very, very talkative, like all the time, especially when she's just focusing on liquids.
Or when I need to be really, really quiet. That's when it goes.
E-Mob says, I hope to see more dark grey wigs. You're beautiful and real, full knowledge and great love. Well, E-Mob, we've just recently put a dark grey wig up on the Sister Wigs reviews. So,
yeah, I did RL511, the sugar and charcoal on the Pretty Please! Exclamation point by Raquel Welch. Very pretty wig, and I try to showcase the grays every once in a while. I try to have like a little rotation where I do some blondes, some reds, some grays, some brunettes. I try not to get too settled into anything too similar too often.
Yeah, we've got some old reviews that have some good grays in there as well, if you like. And she also says, you are beautiful and real, full of knowledge and great love.
Oh, thank you so much.
Elisa says, I was very embarrassed about my wig wearing, and now I don't care.
See?
I used to try to wear the same style all of the time. Now I change my wig style constantly.
Yes!
What's funny is that people will never ask a person of color about her hair or wig. I get comments constantly. I just say that I'm glad I live in a world where I don't have to live with the hair I was born with.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, and Lori Rue says, have to go, so
thank you
for dropping by,
Thank
Lori.
you so much, Lori.
Been great.
I'm gonna do this brow, and so I'm gonna ask you to hold off for a second, Nigel, because people ask me all the time how I do my brows, and I want to make sure that I kind of walk you through this. So I do my brows differently depending on the look, but this is a pretty solid combination of products. I'm gonna use 3 different products. I like to use the Foolproof Brow Powder by Benefit. This is in the color 3, which is kind of like in the middle. It's not too dark or too light. I'm also gonna use Brunette Betty, the Urban Decay brow blade, and I'm gonna use like the fine tipped felt marker part of it for it, and then I'm also gonna set it with the 24-hour brow setter, and this will literally stay on until you wash it off or use some Pond's cold cream on it. This will shellac those brows down. So This powder, I use it all the time. I have multiple colors of it, but this is a really easy color to use, this number 3, and it actually has 2 shades. It has a dark color and a light one, and the packaging tells you exactly where you're supposed to apply it, which is kind of fun. I always start at the arch, and that is a great thing to remember. And in fact, before I even do this, I want to make sure I brush this a little bit with the spoolie, kind of get all these kind of hanging out upright a little bit, so I can really pack the color into the spaces in between. See where the sparse areas are. And some of these areas are not necessarily sparse, it's just the eyebrow hair is white. So it looks really sparse in those areas. So yeah, start at the arch. And I'm just gonna follow my natural brow shape, even though I know they're sisters, they're not twins. And I'm just gonna be respectful of their individual, unique personalities. Alrighty, and I'm just kind of tapping it in there. I'm using the Benefit Brow Spoolie, not the little spongy thing that comes with this kit, because this spoolie is worth its weight in gold. It is a very, very good spoolie with an angled brow brush at the end. When it comes to fluffy brushes, I don't like it when they're dual-ended, but when it's something this compact for brows or something like that, I don't care. It's fine, because it's not like this is going to get distorted if you store it this direction. Whereas a fluffy brush can kind of get damaged if it's stored upright and it's got a fluffy end on both sides. And I'm actually going down in this direction now with the exact same dark color. Again, starting at the brow, or at the arch rather, and kind of working my way down. Trying to fill in any of these kind of sparse areas. I find that the darker color is easier to work with in the sparse areas. And I'm going to do some detail work there too in a second.
Kathleen loves your lip color.
Thank you.
And Cha-Cha, I filled her in on where you can find various color spotlights as well, and she says, I've been attempting to catch up with what you offer. Only found you guys about a week ago, so appreciate what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for hanging out with us.
Yes, great stuff.
Okay. Gonna kind of brush that in real gently and go back in with the exact same spoolie brush in the lighter color now. And I'm kind of going against the grain, against the direction of the way that the hair grows. So I'm not using a lot of product because I don't want it to kind of fall into the rest of my makeup. But this is how you can get a really nice kind of dark brow without it looking like you drew it on with a marker. Yeah, I have one brow that likes to grow almost like a straight line, and then the other one just kind of like goes loop. It's a little bit softer. I'm gonna break out the mirror and draw in some bits here with the blade end of this brown blade. Again, this is the color Brunette Betty. I'm trying to pick the one that's the, you know, almost the same as my brow color, but I don't want it to be quite as dark. Oh, Genius of Love is on.
Cha-Cha says, love you too, so happy to hang out live.
Is anybody else doing their makeup along with us? Because that would be super fun.
Gina says, so I just remembered I made coffee when I started to watch. It's cold, I forgot all about it. Cold coffee is good too. There's very little coffee that is not good as far as Heather's concerned.
Oh, I love coffee. I'm obsessed.
I could go for some Guatemalan Antigua about now.
And I just smudged a little bit in the wrong place, and I don't even care. Like, I'm not afraid to do my makeup in a live stream because I feel like makeup mistakes are part of doing makeup. So, I don't always want to hide them because covering them up and fixing them is part of the technique. So I'm just going to take some of the, like a little angled cotton swab. I keep some of these like precision cotton swabs in a little medicine jar thingy, apothecary jar.
Apothecary jars for various tinctures, powders, balms, and unguents.
What the heck is an unguent?
It's like a goopy thing that you smear on things.
That doesn't sound pleasant. Like,
No,
I don't.
it doesn't.
That would be. You would be a terrible salesperson. Come buy this goopy thing you smear on things.
Heather, do you wear falsies? What kind of falsies are we talking, Jerry Lynn? Are we talking lashes or breastises or?
I do wear false lashes. I've been diving very headlong into the realm of magnetic lashes. I actually really love glamnetic. I took the bait. They were bombing me with ads on Instagram, and I was like, you know what? Sure, I hate lash glue. Let's run with it. So I'm actually gonna put on a pair as part of this routine. Actually, if I ever finish the rest of this stuff. Luckily, the magnetic lashes are very easy to apply, which is part of their charm.
Let's see. Let's get a couple of.
And I'm just taking the end of the spoolie brush to this part here just to kind of soften that up a little bit and help it blend a little better.
Cynthia Cook says, love the color Martini by Jean Renault.
It's a good one.
Do other brands have this color? I love watching you.
I don't think they have the exact same color, though there are brands that have very similar colors. Like a 48, which is the base color there, is not uncommon. Same thing with that 101. It's just the way they lay it out on the Martini that's kind of special to that particular color combination. But if you are, happy to buy something that's more of a 48 without all that, that is definitely easy to find. Or just a 48 that's got some highlight in it, but not necessarily a 101 highlight.
Natalie says, I used to be conservative in makeup, but now age 42, I'm doing full glam almost every time I wear makeup because the older I get, the less I care about what's appropriate.
That is right.
I just do what I want.
You do you. That's right. Because if it's fun and it ain't hurting anybody, then what it does is it sends the message that that's okay. You're not judgmental. You want to have fun, and people want to be around people who want to have fun. So I love all that.
Sherry says, hi Nigel, what did you major in college? Surprisingly, biology. I'm a trained conservational field biologist.
Hold on, honey. I just want to tell them what I'm putting on while you talk.
Well, I was done.
Oh, well, you can keep going.
That was my answer. I did a few other things as well, but off we go.
I'm going to keep going, but
Yeah,
I would like
you
you to tell them more about yourself while I do this because it's hard for me to talk and apply eyeliner.
Right.
So this is the Cat's Meow. I love that. This is the Modern Twist Kajal liner. By MAC. I'm gonna smear this a little bit, by the way, with their 212 brush, which is kind of a flat synthetic brush. All right, getting down to it. Go ahead, honey.
Yeah, but my major was in biology for conservational environmental purposes. So I can test water quality and see if there's pollution or anything like that, and what kind of impact that has on the environment. And but I also did I did a minor in journalism and mass communication, so I can write a web page. I can run a VTR board on a TV production program and a few other things like that. And I just did a lot of everything. Really, very, very well-rounded education, thankfully. But try getting a job as a biologist these days is practically impossible. But
try getting a job as anything these days.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Cha-cha comes in with unguent, a vintage British term for our American ointment. Yeah, ointment, that's the word I was looking for, but for some reason the words won't come. I have this problem where as soon as I try to think of the exact word, or especially name, if I'm trying to think of a specific name, it suddenly leaves my head and will not come back for 3 hours until it's too late. But the ATX Brit says you guys are awesome, plus I love hearing Nigel's accent. Oh, thank you very much, my dear proper job. I'm in Texas, but from Derbyshire. Notice I pronounced it correctly, so I'm the authentic thing. Been overseas 19 years and have my strong accent. Good, keep it up. My favorite wig is Crowd Pleaser by Raquel Welch.
Side note, I can tell the alcohol is kicking in because
That's a
he's
popular
talking super loud right now.
Sorry.
Party!
Brain fog, I get that too, and then 3 hours later I just randomly blurt out the thing I forgot. Yes, Serene. Yes. Exactly, Serene. Exactly. Have fun with your makeup while your age category remains under 65 years old, says Cha-Cha. Once collagen starts to leave the building, makeup application is difficult.
Oh, girlfriend, that's why I had to use fillers, and I want to be really open about that. I've actually had Voluma put in my cheeks because I've got the collagen and the elasticity of somebody who's about 15 years older than me, so, you know, around 55-ish, when I'm not even 40 yet, though I turned 40 this year. And it's because I lost over 100 pounds. Your skin does not bounce back.
Kathleen says, I love iced coffee. Add some ice and you're good to go. Yes, definitely. I love all types of coffee. Coffee ice cream is very good. And Cha-Cha says, Nigel, welcome to the fun process of aging. It's not for wimps.
That's right.
My brain was going ages ago. Back when I was still in my prime. But now I'm...
What was that, dear?
Now I'm...
I think that was 46.
Yeah. It's gotten worse. Now, you'll have to excuse me for a moment because, as Heather says,
oh man,
I've not been really on the booze, but I have been drinking a lot of fluids with Jollop and all that sort of thing. So, if you'll excuse me for 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, who do you think's been drinking all of the stuff he's been mixing and then telling you he's been mixing? Right? Okay. I just want to make sure that that was out there. Like, my stuff is really super diluted, and it's even, like, kind of diet friendly because I'm using True Lime Mango Orange Aid, which is stevia sweetened and very delightful once you can get past that stevia taste. But it does have a little bit of vodka in it, but he knows not to put too much in mine because ever since I had gastric sleeve surgery, I have become an epic lightweight. I always try to make sure all of my drinks are incredibly weak. But hey, I'm a super cheap date that way. All right, and I'm just trying to make sure I get a little bit of liner in here so that way when I do apply my lashes, it's not crazy jarring looking, but I don't necessarily want to go overboard with too much eyeliner either. Like, I don't want to do like a full-blown cat's eye necessarily because I want the shadows to basically speak for themselves a little bit here. Alrighty. Trying to get a little bit of that going. Sorry, it's hard for me to talk while I do my eyeliner, so my apologies in advance if I'm not as chatty during this part. I want to try to keep my face a little bit more still. Oh, I hear him coming back.
And I'm back. The nightmare continues.
I knew you were going to say that.
I always say that. It's been my running gag since 6th grade.
But what if you're like a dream come true?
We need more of the Heather and Nigel show, says Elisa.
We should do an update, honestly, because of the accident and all the...
Speaking of which, Elisa's asked about that, and I'm pretty much fully healed, thank you, Elisa. I'm able to pick up Heather and carry her around a bit, so do a bit of walking around. So yeah, the hip's fine. I'm not noticing any pain or anything, so I think I'm in the clear now. Thank you very much for asking.
Yeah, the other thing is, like, we're still working on getting his green card.
Yeah, just had a medical exam for that, so that's one step closer to the process being completed.
Yeah, COVID-19 definitely put a bit of a dent in that timeline a little bit.
Kathleen asks, what style lashes are you going to wear today?
I'm going to be using the Lush Lash premium magnetic eyelashes.
And
it doesn't say what they're made of.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, honey.
And the AT expert said, how do the magnetic lashes work with wearing glasses?
Not at all. They don't work at all. Like, I did just recently order some of their, they call the style Virgo, and they're meant to be like some of their more like natural looking ones. So I'm gonna give those a go. But me, lashes and glasses have never been a great combination, because by extending the lashes, it feels like they're constantly beating up against the glasses, and that drives me nuts. And then with these, they'll come loose if they hit up against the glasses too hard. Because I don't use a ton of the liner when I apply it, the magnetic liner, because it flakes and then it gets in my eye. So I'm really, 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 really careful about how I apply it. And in fact, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to use this Meron Stage Line 312 brush with the Glamnetic liner. I've already curled my lashes, but I might do it again just for fun. Because I want to do this before I do my mascara, just to give it a little bit of time to dry. I find that the mascara actually dries a little faster, so there's that. I'm still on the quest to find a good waterproof mascara that won't irritate my eyes. It's like an impossibility, but I'm gonna keep trying to find one. So if you guys can recommend any, I would be highly grateful.
Speaking of glasses, we've got a few comments on that.
And I'm just kind of taking this brush to the tip of this, by the way, and just kind of gently tapping it in.
Lloyda Pagan says, I love you in glasses too. And Gina says, I love all your fun glasses.
Thank you. I figure if I gotta wear them, they might as well be cute.
And thank you all for your kind wishes on recuperation and all that. And yeah, definitely feeling much better. Thank you very much. Great stuff. Right, so what else? We're going to see if there's anything I missed out here.
We're at the tail end, home stretch. Hopefully I don't screw up my eyeliner at the last second. How many times does that happen to you? Because that seems to happen, like, I'm going to knock on some wood. That happens so often. Like, I'll get this far, it'd be like, everything looks great. And then carpal tunnel shakes will kick in, and then I'm like, nah, what just happened to my perfect whatever I was working on?
Ooh, Connie Sixel. You should try the 1-2 cosmetic lashes. They are 2 magnetic lashes that sandwich. You lash... I get it. They are 2 magnetic lashes that you sandwich your lashes in between, and they are awesome.
Really? Because I've heard that they're hard to use. Like that they slip around, but if you recommend them, I might give them a shot.
Right, I'm copying that and pasting it and making a note of it in the notebook.
Yeah, because everything I've heard about those is that they don't stay in place. But if it's just a matter of technique, I'm always up for a challenge. I'm willing to give it a whirl. It's just a matter of people not applying them right.
And Serene says, I have luck with Unique Mood Struck Epic Mascara.
Can you recommend any unique people who won't like bomb me with ads after I buy something from them once? Because if you can, I will support them and buy something, try that out and buy it from them. But I'm always reluctant to get involved with MLM people because, my goodness, sometimes they're very hard to say no to because they will just keep asking and they won't go away until you say yes. It's pesky.
Natalie says, just waiting for the launch of the Moon Kitty eyeshadow palette.
Oh, that'd be delicious. It would have to have some purple in there. I'm living purple right now.
Louise says, oh my, hope you can find a good waterproof mascara. I need one too. And I guarantee you, Louise, if Heather finds something good, she will share it because she likes to share good tips with people.
Yes, and you can tell I didn't put this on completely evenly. I don't even care because the lashes are going to cover that up. So this, by the way, is Clinique High Impact Mascara. It's the regular High Impact Mascara. It's not waterproof. Nope. No buildable fibers. I hate buildable fibers. They're like the devil if you have sensitive eyes, so avoid, avoid, avoid. But this is the black #1.
LS says, how much will all this makeup contacts in cause you problems after all this is done? Because she knows you have sensitive skin.
Well, usually it depends on how long I'm wearing it. For some of this stuff, like with the foundation and stuff, I usually can get away with most products for about 6 to 8 hours before I have to really worry. Because most of the stuff I use is high-end enough when it comes to my face that it's not acnegenic. The only thing so far that I've experienced real problems with in terms of face products, not eye makeup, but I'll touch on that in a second. Rihanna's Fenty Pro Filter series. I've tried to use the primer and the foundation, and they must have a lot of silicone or something in them, because I just feel like they clog my pores like crazy, and it's super hard to wash off. So I don't recommend those. They might be great for 20-somethings with like beautiful non-acne prone skin, but that is not me. You know, so more power to them. I hope they enjoy it while it lasts.
Connie says they won't contact you. They're good about that. I have mine and wear them with glasses and have no problems at all.
Sweet.
And Elisa says, what eye makeup remover do you use?
I tend to use good old-fashioned Pond's cold cream, and then if I don't want to get that right up against my eye to take off some of this stuff, I like this Estee Lauder Gentle Eye Makeup Remover. You can tell I've actually used this, so I'm not just saying I like it. Like, I've used this a lot, and this isn't even my first bottle. I usually put some on a cotton swab and just kind of gently go over it until the rest of it comes off. But I usually go over most of my face with the cold cream first. It's a classic for a reason. It works really well. I just need to make sure I wash my face very thoroughly when I'm done. And then what I use to wash my face after that is another Clinique product, actually. It's Wash the Day Off or Take the Day Off or something like that. It's like it comes in a green tube. I wish I remember the name of it, but it's a really nice non-drying liquid face soap. Again, some things are classic for a reason, and some of that Clinique stuff, like this mascara, exact same way. Just like, I really like Maybelline's lipstick formulas. I think they do a good job, and their mascara, before I became too sensitive to use it, was actually pretty solid too.
Gina says, I saw a video where the girl cut the lashes to make it easier to apply the
Yes.
1-2 lashes. I've never tried, but...
You always need to measure your eyes before you put lashes on. I have both a blessing and a curse in that I have, you know, relatively large round eyes, which means I don't necessarily always have to trim the lashes, but because I've got big eyes, so the whole thing will fit on there. But it also means that they're round enough that they're hard to lay down sometimes. And that's why I hate the glue, because I end up with glue all over my face sometimes, because the lashes will just kind of refuse to stick. Even if I, you know, take a blow dryer to it to try to like dry the glue on them a little faster, or like wait a while, it's just the way that they want to lay is not curved enough to actually accommodate my eye that well.
LS says, end result is always so beautiful, but it's your inner beauty that makes it much more dynamic.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. That's very, very nice. I mean, I hope that's coming across. I know I've touched on some kind of like deep topics in this, and I always hope that that isn't going to be like something that turns people off, because I want to be able to talk about important stuff, but not like dwell on it, you know? And I think that there's a balance that we can strike there. I'm just going to let this dry for a second and kind of let you look at what I've got going on before I apply the lashes. So you can see, shiny. This is a very, very intentionally dewy look. I used dewy setting stuff, and I used some of this Charlotte Tilbury stuff that really gave it a dewy glow. Didn't use any highlighter. There's no highlighter at all on my face for this look. The closest thing to it is that Charlotte Tilbury stuff, which is not quite a foundation, but also not quite a highlighter. It's kind of like in between. But yeah, that's what I got going on.
Liz says, I used Pond's cold cream for my face and Vaseline with a Q-tip under and around my eyes. Been doing that for years.
It's a great trick. I heard that Fran Drescher credits her aging and how well she's aged to using Vaseline on her face. She got that from her grandma, apparently. I read that somewhere.
Adriana says, Clinique Take the Day Off.
That's it.
Makeup remover for lids.
That stuff is great, and it's so gentle. I'm gonna go ahead and, yeah, that's the stuff that I use when I'm done with the cold cream. Because sometimes I mean, this is a lot of makeup, as you can probably tell, and sometimes it takes a couple of washings to get it all off. And these are not subtle lashes.
LaRue says, yes, I have that problem with false eyelashes. They don't curl. Liz says, my uncle taught me that trick. He had baby smooth skin into his late 90s.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah, that was something that was instilled in me from a very young age, the virtue of moisturizing your skin religiously. Like,
yes. Heather moisturizes
there's
like
no
the
joke.
Dickens.
It's no joke. My great grandma, she taught me that very early on. And my mom and all the women on my mom's side of the family have aged fantastically. And I mean, part of it's genetic, so I hope that rubs off on me and continues to be the trend. But part of it's also habitual. We were all trained very early on by my great grandmother to just go to town with the moisturizers.
I don't know if any of you folks out there watching are familiar with Mystery Science Theater 3000 and its latter offshoot, Riff Tracks, but they did one for Constance Bennett's beauty routine, which was done way back in, I forget what year, but Constance Bennett goes through her beauty routine for the entire day, and it's like, when does she have time to do anything else?
Hey.
But yeah.
Sometimes it's hard work. I put it a little bit too far down, so I'm just trying to recenter it a little bit.
Oh, everyone's learning lots of things. Serene, OMG, I love MST3K. You should also check out Svengoolie, similar but with cheesy B movies. Oh, the stuff. Oh, let me tell you, Serene, I gotta say, the stuff I've seen that makes fun of bad movies. One of my favorites was Superhost from WUAB, Channel 43 in Cleveland, or not Cleveland, Parma, I believe it was, Ohio. Good stuff. Good stuff.
I'm just putting in some earrings if I can figure out where the hole is. Here we go.
Definitely, I'll look into that Svengoolie thing. So
let me close my eyes so you can kind of see what I got going on. I'm gonna get real close up in here so you can see how dewy all of this is. And note how matte all of this is down here where the zits are. Hopefully that is doing what I wanted it to on your end, where it kind of like pulls the eye away from the blemishes a little bit. I mean, they're not ever gonna be 100% covered up, but the goal is so that way on camera, it isn't necessarily something that draws a whole lot of attention to itself. All right. Let's go take some pictures with some hair. You ready, honey?
Nearly, just about.
Unplugging the power cable. And we're going this way.
Those are some long, hefty lashes. Love
it. They are definitely pretty intense. I've got...
You want this,
Oh. What's that, honey?
Do you want this?
Bear with me just a second while I get this in the bracket. I don't need the stool. I can... Well, yeah, give me the stool, I guess.
The stool, okay, you might want to adjust.
Because that way I don't have to raise the light and all that stuff.
There you go, my sweet.
Thank you. Oh, man, that's low.
Yeah, well, it's as low as it will go.
Okay. How low can you go? Now I know. Okay. I did pick like a human hair wig in this bunch too, since I didn't pull a human hair wig last time. But first I gotta put on my trusty wig cap because some of these wigs I might want to sell at some point. Some of them are mine, straight up, like the Frida is mine. And I paid for the Frida. It was not a free wig, so.
Right, Cha-Cha says before applying lashes, gently bend them in a curve across the width to shape them, much easier to apply. Also allow glue to partially dry before applying, much less mess, shorter set time. And Adriana says, wow, you made putting magnetic lashes look so easy. I missed which brand you use. It's
Glamnetic.
Glamnetic.
Glamnetic. It's a good brand. And they have a lot of variety. They're a little pricey, but they have some nice mink and they have synthetic ones, which I really like. I pulled this Fortune wig because I thought the color, that pecan color, I got to raise this up a little bit more.
That top looks amazing, I gotta say.
Thank you. I thought it would look really cool with the bronze colors. I didn't want to be too on the nose with too many bronzes, so I just kind of wanted to pepper them in here. So this time around, since I'm shooting in landscape instead of portrait mode, I got to be a little crafty about how I'm positioning myself. I did a review of this Fortune wig by Main Attraction, which is an offshoot of Henry Margu. I did that review earlier this week, and I thought it would look really, really pretty with these tones. Let's see how this looks. I don't have a mirror in front of me, so I gotta just kind of look at the screen. And because I'm blind as a bat, when I wear my contact lenses, I was slightly off-centered in parts of the video, so I want to show you that this is actually symmetrically cut.
Fortune looks like a lot of hair, says Serene.
It has quite a bit of hair. A lot of the main attraction wigs have a lot of hair, but this has a mono top, so the good news is it will settle as you wear it a little bit longer. Honey, can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Can you help me push this back a little bit so that way I can actually turn around? Or
oops.
I'll do it. Never mind.
No, I'm coming. I just have to...
Sometimes he gets kind of stuck in a task, and then it's hard for him to switch. So I figured I would just take care of it. So here we go. Whee! I love chairs that move like this. It's like a playground. I need to turn 6 already. But yeah, I really like this wig. I think it's really comfortable on, by the way. It's a monofilament top wig, which is usually going to be a little bit on the snug side, and it is, but the wig grip helps a lot, and shaving my head helps a lot too. I'm going to try to get a little bit more light on this so you can see all the little nooks and crannies. I try not to turn on super bright lights. Like none of these lights are on full blast because I don't want to drown out the color. So sometimes it's kind of a balancing act to get it all in there. Looks good with this makeup though. So I'm glad when my pairings turn out well. So this is Fortune by Main Attraction. Does anybody have any questions about this?
Okay, let's see here. I'm trying to get that. Oh, drat. Come on. Okay. There we go. Right.
No?
No, I do. I just need to get, because we had a cascade of them and I have to find where we left off.
I'll show you the lace front while he's doing that.
Elisa has to go mute for a meeting, but she loves us all and you and me.
Well, thank you, and thank you for hanging out with us. Enjoy your meeting.
Cha-Cha says, looking awesome, Heather. Love the shirt and the wig. Beautiful. Thank you for the bronze brunch with you and Nigel.
Thank you. I actually have a few more wigs. I'm gonna jump into those real quick. Nigel, try to be a little bit more.
Right. Okay.
And you don't have to read them all to me, just when I pause, okay?
Yeah, well.
So here, he's getting the hang of it.
Well, they all come in a huge cascade and they scroll, so I have to try and find the...
Maybe next time we should have you moderate on a phone instead, because I bet it would probably update a little faster. We'll see. We'll check it out. We'll try something
amazing,
different.
You look so good, says Gina.
This is a different one. This is a darker color. This is the Angled Pixie by Tressalure. This is one of their heat-friendly wigs, and this is the 4/6R. This one was provided by the supplier. It's the only one that I'm demoing for you today that was sent to me as a PR sample.
Right. Two more about the Fortune. How does it fit? My head is a bit larger than average, so wigs normally fit very tight on me.
I find it to be very stretchy. It's pretty comfortable on. I did touch on that really briefly, probably before that comment came in, but it's very comfortable for me. It's not like an Amore wig or something like that. It fits a little bit like, you know, John Renault, Tony Beverly, or a Henry Margu wig would work. So if any of those brands work for you, that will fit very similarly.
And the other, well, Bam says, looks just too cute, and LS says, you look beautiful. Is Fortune basically good for all ages?
I think so. I highly recommend that one, and they did not pay me to say that. I think that the Fortune wig is, which by the way is one that I do have to send back to them. They lent me that wig. So caveat about the promotional samples. This one I get to keep, but that one they want me to send back. Hence why I'm wearing a wig liner. But Fortune is just really sharp. I love the deconstructed ends. I like the length of it. I think it's very approachable. I think it would look cute and fresh on somebody young. And I think that it would look really fashionable on somebody who is, you know, my age or a little older.
No, sorry, I laughed here. Natalie says the shirt and jewelry gives me a peacock vibes. I bet a jeweled peacock wig would look amazing.
Ooh.
But Nikki, and this is why I laughed, said, Heather, are there any wigs that don't look good on you? I can think of the Spaniel one.
Yes. The retired Talia by Renee of Paris looked awful on me. It was terrible. I looked like a Cocker Spaniel. And Cocker Spaniels are adorable. I just don't want to look like one. But okay, so does anybody have any questions about the delightful angled pixie wig?
Okay.
It's open capped, heat friendly.
LS says, thanks, sold. I've been waffling back and forth since your first video.
Yeah,
So,
and of course if it doesn't fit, just send it back. All right, well I'm gonna...
Love this dark pixie, says Serene.
Oh, I love... This is a good wig. This is probably my favorite, this angled pixie, by the way. It's probably my favorite of the ones that they sent me. I want to try something that's a little bit weird because we've got all of these warm tones going on. I thought, why not try something that is going to sincerely clash with it as I break my set. So I brought out this Miranda by Jon Renau and Glacier, which is going to clash. My curiosity though is it going to clash and look really awful, or is it going to clash and look really right? So let's check it out. Sometimes these kinds of complementary color situations can be really interesting. And I'm not afraid of being a little clashy, so.
Kathleen asked, how's the Permatease volume on Fortune?
I'll show you. It's just at the crown, and it's not even that kinky of a permatease. It's more like that straight hair. But I mean, it's a little bit back here behind the crown, but it's very minimal. And as the hair settles, my suspicion is it's gonna have a silhouette kind of similar to something like Kendall by Jon Renau. Not the Kendall by Henry Margout, because that's gonna always have more volume than that Fortune wig, simply because it's got such a big curl on it.
Liz Lyons loves the Cleopatra top. Where'd you get that, by the way?
I buy almost all my clothes on Poshmark. So I think this is a Lucky brand shirt, but I bought it secondhand because, you know, I like saving money too. I mean, I don't buy makeup secondhand, though I did recently buy from Poshmark the 2 limited edition Pat McGrath Star Wars Mothership. Like, not the mothership, but the mothership with the vowels missing. The mini palettes. Or the MIDI palettes, I guess. But let me bring this light in just a little bit so you can kind of see the color. And then I'll zoom it back out again so you can see. In fact, I'm going to zoom this out just so you can get more of the wig in there. There we go. That helped. But yeah, it clashes. It does. But I think it looks really cute. I kind of like it. I think it kind of definitely pulls some attention. The issue is, does it look deliberate, or does it look like I just don't see colors well?
D, in one of the first comments I've noticed from her, says, gonna order yet another wig today. Ambrose is my summer fave. I get compliments every day.
Yay!
Thanks for creating beautiful wig options for us.
You're welcome. And I just designed some new colors for the fall. So we've already placed that order. They're being made, and hopefully they'll be ready, you know, hopefully by like September-ish. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I also came up with a shorter version of that style that has a little bit of lift at the crown. So I can't wait to show that off when the time comes. So I'm going to go ahead and change to the next wig. But this was Miranda, Jon Renau, Glacier. If you have any questions about that, let Nigel know. He can ask me, and I'll move on to the next thing.
But D says, Yahoo! Fall colors by Heather. Adriana says, looks great. Only you can pull that color off.
It's a toughie. That is a tough color, and frankly, I don't think it's possible to pull off without a ton of makeup. So I thought, today I'm wearing a ton of makeup. Let's run with it.
Liz says, God have Ambrose and Ananika. I have dozens of wigs, good ones, trying to justify adding lol. And Ella says, ooh la la, where were all these cues young enough to pull them off?
I started losing my hair when I was 17, and I wish I would have known about this a lot sooner too. That's why I love seeing younger people start to wear these and make Instagram posts and videos about it. I'm all about it. I don't view it as competitive at all, particularly if they, you know, shout out to me or credit me if they take inspiration from what I'm doing. I figure that's almost like a collaboration. But I love seeing them because I would have loved that. I would have loved that as a young person, to see other people like me, because I felt so alone. Like, I didn't know anybody my age that was losing my hair. The only other person I met as a youngster that was losing their hair was when I was in college. My lab partner in biochemistry, she had, because I'm the kind of masochist that takes classes like that as an elective, true story. I took that, and my lab partner was undergoing chemotherapy for leukemia, and she was a wig wearer. And she was the only person my age that I knew that wore them. And here I was wearing like costume wigs. So this is a retired wig. They do not make this wig in this color anymore. I brought this out specifically for this makeup and just to show it off again. And also because I think Kathleen, if she's still in here with us.
Yep, she is. She just said that dark angled pixie is adorable too.
This is for you, Kathleen, because I think that you will appreciate seeing this one. I made a video of this a long time ago. I mentioned Kendall by Henry Margu earlier. Here she is. This is in 2400H. They don't make this color anymore. But I would love to know what you think of it. Because if you love this color, I would love to make this color. Because it's delicious. So let me know your thoughts. Let me dive right in. This is just Kendall. You've probably seen Kendall by now a billion times, particularly on me, because I love this wig. But I really love this wig in this color, and I'm so bummed out that they stopped making it. Because, wow, I think it's one of those things.
Humana.
Yeah, I think seriously, I think it's one of those situations where their color names being just the color codes, it's super intimidating. And I can understand that would set this color up for failure, because they sandwiched it right in between 2500H and 2600H. And those are both blondes. They're both blondes. So I'm sure people were very confused about what this color was.
I have to interject with what Natalie says. I wore baseball caps all throughout my 30s because of my PCOS hair loss. I was so depressed. Then I happened upon Heather's review of Joan Renault's Heidi, and it changed my life. I will always love Heather for that.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you. Seriously, I have to tell you, I was thinking about this in the car and I started bawling and I had to pull over. It took me forever to bring my groceries home because I'm sensitive sometimes.
Everyone's loving that color, by the way.
It's delicious, isn't it? So I'll talk about that in a second, but I want to get back to that comment because you know, things have been really rough, and I feel like I'm actually pretty blessed because I still get the opportunity to talk to you guys about stuff. I mean, things are lean, obviously. They're that way for everybody. And they're that, you know, it's a little bit of a white knuckle thrill ride to be in small business to begin with, and especially during a recession and a pandemic. It's just, you know, and it's incredibly touching and reaffirming, and it helps me realign my priorities every day. Like whenever I feel really down, because yesterday I woke up crying. Like I gotta be real with you guys. I woke up super upset and depressed and just scared because, you know, I have anxiety issues, and you know, look at what's going on in the world. It's hard not to feel anxious even when you don't have anxiety issues. And then when you have anxiety, it's like, you know. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I am so lucky because I still have this. I still have an income. I have my husband with me.
Hello.
And I have you guys. And frankly, those two things are related because you guys being here with me and shopping in my store and supporting what I do helps me keep him with me. Seriously, I'm getting choked up about it now. I can't let my makeup run. But you know, it means a lot. It means a lot to know that, you know, you are here supporting me, hanging out with me. It means a lot that we mean a lot to you. Like, just know that when I express my appreciation, it's deep. It's not something I'm saying because I think that I should say it. I'm saying it because it's true, and because it helps me articulate to you guys how meaningful this relationship is on our side of this equation, right back at you.
It's absolutely vital for us.
And that's why we are so glad to and feel fortunate and happy to pump so much of ourselves and our time into this. It's not, I mean, sometimes it feels like work, but a lot of times it just feels like a mission. Like we have to do it because we're passionate and we know we're helping people. And then to hear stuff like that, it's just like, yes, okay, good. We're on to something, gotta keep going. So I just wanted to stop for a second and thank you and let you know how deeply that is appreciated from both of us. Did you want to add anything, honey?
Yeah, it is. amazingly gratifying to have support of viewers and customers like you, because it does make our life possible, and without that kind of support and community, the place where I used to work in England has now been sold off. It's no longer exists. That's no longer an option for me to go back to. This is my life now, and I'm happy with it, and you folks are making that possible, and I'm eternally grateful for that.
He loves the YouTube comments, by the way. Like, when I'm too busy to moderate the comments, he is in there, and he loves talking to people. Like, he loves talking to you guys. Like, that is really him, and when I'm talking to you, it's really me, and we have a couple of friends of ours that help out too. Yeah. But when we sign off and say that it's us, it's us.
Liz says, honestly, I'm so grateful for this community and my husband during this awful period. Dory says, sister, you look simply amazing and spectacular as usual. Nigel, you're one lucky Brit hubby. Yes, I know. I just mentioned that. Love you so much, beautiful lady. Makeup, hair, just fantabulous.
Thank you.
I have... Jean says, I'm in 6 wigs from you. I trust your company.
Thank you.
Let's see.
I do want to pop another wig on. Do we have any comments about the 2400H before I move on? Because I got...
Oh, well, generally everyone loves it.
Isn't it's amazing. Delicious?
That's the general consensus.
All right, I might have to, like, make a video about this and try to make it appeal. Like, maybe the same thing with the Rose Ella and that raspberry cocoa frappe. Because if people are willing to you know, reserve one essentially and kind of help me crowdfund it, I'd be happy to get these things into production. I could probably get this duped, and I could probably do it with Henry Margou's blessing, because they don't make this color anymore. I've already talked to them about it. So I'm not the kind of person where I don't want to stab any of my suppliers in the back. They all know that I'm talking to factories, and I've also talked to all of them to try to see if they want to partner with me too. So I'm not... Oh, sorry. Is the hairband good? I think that you can wear, like, the square headbands. You can, or grip. Yeah. Oh, mine slid back a little bit. But I love this wig grip cap. That's what they call it, from Milano. I keep wanting to be an affiliate for their wigs, because they actually have some pretty solid human hair pieces, but they won't do that with me. But they will sell me that grip cap, and I love it. I think it's very comfortable, particularly if you have sensitive scalp issues, or if you get pressure points really easily at the perimeter. So it aids with grip, and it helps with tension headaches. Win, win, win. I do have a human hair wig that I wanted to show you guys. This is one that I put hairspray in advance. So it definitely has been styled a little, but this is the natural texture of this hair. I just washed it, let it air dry, and then put some hairspray in it. This is Danya by Frida. And the color on this, I believe, is 1416. So you can tell human hair color codes, they're a little warmer because they're natural colors. So, you know, they obviously don't have toner and whatnot in them. But I love the layering of this. It's a little shaggy. It's long, but not too long. You know, I love wigs like this because you can wear them back. This one would be harder to wear with a square headband or something like that, though, because there's no lace front. But it does have a French top. I am an affiliate for Frida, but we don't sell them directly. And that's because they like to do this thing where they send people more than one wig at a time to see, you know, help them see what color they like the best. It's part of their customer service package. I don't want to get in the way of that. So we just let them handle most of the customer service directly. And in exchange for that, we are allowed to give folks a coupon. So it's an affiliate for us. So, you know, if you decide to get one, use our coupon so we can get credit for it, please. And I will keep trying to show them off. But the hair is virgin, and it is Ukrainian hair. This wig was made in Ukraine. And one of the biggest reasons why I carry Frida products, aside from the fact that the quality is so good, is because they trace the hair from the point where it's sourced all the way to the point where you buy it. And they serialize each individual wig. That is really unique. Most wig companies will put up a pretense that they're doing that, or they say they do it and they don't. And the sourcing of human hair products is a pretty big issue in this industry. And it's something that a lot of people don't like to talk about. But Frida tackles that issue by just tracing it. And that's part of the reason why the price is a little higher. It's also why they don't have any super duper light blondes, because
you know, that is almost impossible to find in the wild from somebody who is willing to sell it, because that is something that is highly prized pretty much cross-culturally. So most women aren't really willing to sell it even if they grow it. So most of the blonde hair you're going to see in the market, like all those 613s out there, there's no way that those are virgin under any circumstances. If they were, you would be talking about probably $4,000 or $5,000 wigs, even if they only have a couple bundles of hair in them. All right.
Serene says, do you wear an average or large in Frida?
I wear an average because the average is generous. It is really, really stretchy, really comfortable, because these are Jewish shadles. They're made to be worn over hair, so they're a little bit more accommodating, and they're even more accommodating here at the crown. But really, 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 like, you can barely see it, I'm sure, but if I take it off, I'll show you. Just really, 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 really stretchy at the perimeter. I don't want to stretch it too aggressively though, because I don't want any of the hair on the top of this to fall out or for the lace to rip, but just phenomenal. Very, very good quality. And that average cap size is very, very accommodating.
And Kathleen says, so this reminds me of a non-heat friendly iced pumpkin spice, just not rooted, right?
Which one? The 2400 or the Frida color? Because the Frida color is not quite that red. It's more of like a honey light brown color. But the 2400 is very similar to the iced pumpkin spice. All right, I just have two more to show, and she's right, it doesn't have as many highlights in it. It's a little bit more subtle. That's why I like that 24, because it doesn't I mean, it has a little bit of the blonde and the gold in it, but it's not as prominent as it is in most of these colors. Like the glazed fire from Raquel Welch is another good example of a similar color. It's a little bit more toned down. The 2400H looks like something that could have been grown out of somebody's head that was naturally ginger, whereas all the other colors that are kind of like it, they're definitely more like dyed colors. So this is fresh from the box, what I'm pulling out now. I wanted to pull out at least one blonde wig. So this is my Phoenix, and this is in Champagne with Apple Pie. I shamelessly kept a few of these for myself in every color, because I figure if I'm going to make them, I might as well be able to, you know, reap the benefits and play with them myself. So I never create things I wouldn't be willing to wear. So this is what Phoenix will look like. And I love how comfortable the cap on this is. When we started partnering with Beltress, I was really specific that on the wigs that we made, I wanted the caps to be average large. Very roomy. So very, very comfortable caps on these. So this is Phoenix. The bang's a little unruly when you first get her. I'm gonna try to play with her anyway though. I always recommend using a little bit of heat there to kind of tame her if you need to. But I love this wig. I love that she looks like she's a little wild, a little crazy.
A little Debbie Harry, perhaps?
Oh, totally. I love this kind of look. I love how shaggy the sides are. I like that it isn't super poofy on top, but it does, you know, have a little bit of volume, just a smidge, so it doesn't look like completely like Ambrose, right? Like I don't want those styles to look identical, even though thematically they've got similarities. This is definitely more shattered. The cap construction is definitely more high-end. You know, it's got a lace front on it and that monofilament side part, and it's definitely way more layered. And this is heat friendly, so even with all the lights on it, it's not super shiny. I like this color a lot because it's like a champagne, but with like a gold undertone to it, and the rooting is really, really, really nice and soft. Does anybody have any questions about Phoenix before I move on to the last one?
Well, let's see. Elisa says it's just in time for her favorite wigs. Serene loves the subtle bang. LaRue says it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Liz loves it. Kathleen says us red lovers need a real light ginger red.
I agree.
And Adriana says, yes, I was waiting for a blonde.
Yes, I always try to make sure I hit all the bases. I did not pick any gray this time, though. The closest thing I'm going to come with these pairings was the Glacier, which does have an off-white in it. But I don't think that a real gray would look very good with this particular coloration. It's just way, way, way warm. So I figured if I was going to go cool, I was going to go off the deep end cool and just pull blue. So that way it looked really catching.
And Elisa says, is it fall yet? Waiting for the next run of Phoenix. I'll be getting several of them. Well, if you sign up to our newsletter, Elisa.
That's right.
You'll be kept abreast of all the latest developments and advanced warnings.
And we're definitely expanding those color offerings too. We've already placed that order with Belle Trust for those things. And I went ahead in front of the money for all of that. So we don't need to crowdsource that necessarily. Same thing with, there's another style. It isn't the Fallon, though I'm still thinking about that. And that one I still have to show you guys at some point. Actually, Nigel, can you grab that? It's on the mannequin.
What's that?
The Fallon, the Belle Trust sample. Because I didn't show them in the last live stream. I could show them now.
What is it? What color is it?
It's the short, curly blonde one. I'll show you that one instead of this one, because you guys have seen this one before. This is the Sugar Rush and Caramel Almond. Well, you know what? I'll just show them both to you real quickly.
This the one you want?
I don't want to tease you.
This the one?
That's the one.
Sweet.
All right, here, I'll trade you.
I did a thing right.
Yes, this is Fallon. This is a prototype that I made. I was actually working on this before Aesthetica discontinued their autumn. I really like their autumn wig. It's just really, really full. And the consistency wasn't always that great. And I was like, well, I could probably make something that's, you know, a little bit more manageable. We did make this in a heat-friendly fiber. This is in Silver Needle, by the way, which is more of like an ashy blonde color. And I wanted it to be heat-friendly on purpose because at this length, that's going to wear really beautifully. And if you straighten it, you're going to get a really nice angled bob out of this, like a really nice sharply angled bob. So you don't have to wear it curly. So that way, my hope is that people will get one, keep it curled, and get another one and straighten it so they can swap them out. Because people are always asking us, you know, what wig is like this wig. Well, this one being heat friendly gives you the option to basically turn it into two different styles. So this I love. It's got all these curls, but this is one that we might end up crowdsourcing and putting up in like a pre-sale context, maybe just like in popular colors, and see if people like it. If you guys are receptive to that, let me know in the comments, because I would love to bring you guys things that you like. Even if I don't necessarily have the funds to front the money for it all the time, I would love to keep being able to bring you things that you're interested in. So if I'm able to wet your whistle and tempt you with these things and you're down for it, let me know, because that's kind of my aim with showing you these prototypes. I want to make you part of that process, particularly if I'm not, you know, independently wealthy enough to actually be able to foot the bill for the development all the time myself. And I digress. The other one I'm making is coming out this fall, and that is the Evangeline. Oh, this is Evangeline. The other one is Fallon. Oh, frig, I forget what I called it. I'm getting it all confused. I will put it in the description when I am one, more sober and don't have bright lights in my face and no pressure is on. So, but I am making another wig too that is going to be a complement to Phoenix, and that's coming out in the fall. I just can't remember what I called it off the top of my head, because I haven't really done anything aside from pull the trigger on development.
Andrea says, do you happen to have an ROP pastel blue?
I do actually. I have an Ivana in that color. But I kind of want to wrap this up because I need to eat some lunch at some point. So maybe next time around I'll pull that, and I'll try to pair it with something to kind of really set that off a little bit, because I do have some really pretty blue palettes to work with. And I figured since I already pulled this last one, I might as well show it to you since I mentioned it. This is another Belle Trust piece. This is their Sugar Rush in their Balayage Caramel Almond. None of the Balayage colors, by the way, are really Balayage, but they're very pretty. And this one is very warm, which I thought would look really dynamite with the coloration of what's going on here. Like really dramatic, very deliberate. Hopefully that's all getting in there. It's kind of hard to tell when everything's in landscape mode. I'm just gonna swivel, wee, as I do. Try not to snag on my set. But I love this color. It's very warm. It's very similar to something like the Melted Sunset by Renee of Paris, except it's not the exact same thing, because they're, I believe it's called like Sweet Mango or something like that. It's got mango in it. That's the one that's basically a dupe for the Melted Sunset. This is like Melted Sunset on the bottom, and like medium brown on top.
D says, do you have a favorite pink wig to recommend?
Ooh. Well, if I'm being honest, I really liked the biscotti babe that I made in my strawberry cream soda color. I designed that color because I liked it. It came out before things that were similar to it. We were actually really ahead on that trend. But it's kind of like a pastel silvery pink, which now there are a couple different flavors of, but mine's still a little more pink than like something like the pastel pink from Renee of Paris, which would be a very similar color.
And Liz says, which one is that balayage wig?
This is Sugar Rush by Belle Tress, and it's comfortable. All these Belle Tress wigs are comfortable on me. It's one of the reasons why I really like to partner with this brand, because it's something that I can wear comfortably. Because
how's it for sizing? Good question. Walks right into that. How's it for sizing on that?
Yeah, just mentioned it's a little bit on the slightly larger than average size, though it is very adjustable. We've had folks that have been closer to a petite average cap size who pull this off really well too. Now just note, this may look like an appropriate amount of hair on me, but I'm 5'8". So if you're real petite, this may be a lot of hair, and it might be, down at the girls a little bit more than this one is on me. But I really, really like the density on this wig. It's actually surprisingly light density for a wig that has this kind of length going on. It's just, bear in mind, it has a little bit of permatease, and it also, just particularly here on the sides, has quite a bit of hair on it. But the ponytail, I say it's light density because the ponytail is, let me see if I can do this without pulling on the tag. It's about that-ish. Like, it's full, but it's not like Angelica by Noriko full. This is definitely a little bit, like, it's not like Lennox by Renee of Paris. That is a very full wig as well, or anything by Louis Ferré is going to be thicker than this. So, that is it for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool stuff. Alrighty.
So thank you so much for joining us on this
indeed.
live stream. I know it went on for a hot minute and a half, but I hope that, it was full of information that was useful for you. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us, and it's just been a blast. I love doing these live streams, so whenever I can, fit them in, I'm going to try to do so, particularly if you guys enjoy them and want to keep joining us. And by the way, thank you for shopping with our store even during this pandemic. Thank you if you're on Patreon with us. I appreciate it. My husband and I, we definitely are here working for you, and we appreciate the time that you spend with us. And You know what? If you can't afford any of that stuff, which I totally get to, because times are tough and some people are out of work and it's scary out there, you can still support us without spending a dime by just sharing our content with somebody.
Yes.
Spread the word, share it with a friend. That is the easiest, freest way to help us, and support our store, because if you can't afford something, maybe one of your friends can, and we can keep the show on the road and maybe get some more of these projects off the ground a little faster, because we're definitely constrained by the limits of the budget right now, which is why some of these things seem to start and then sputter, but we're still working on them. And I hope to keep updating you on them, so that way you know that we're still working on them as much as time and budget permits. So thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Thank you for being such a great bright spot in our day. We'll talk to you later.
Yes. Well, Liz and Andrea have been very supportive, and everyone has just been great and supportive and thanking us
Yay.
and everything. And just wanted to say thank you to everyone and all and sundry for making this a
Do you want to come on camera to say this?
All right. Yeah, okay.
The disembodied head is coming to talk to you.
Incoming message from the big giant head.
I moved over so we can share the spotlight.
Thank you, my cherish.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone. This has been. Where's the camera? Is that
It's
there?
like over
Okay,
there,
right,
yeah.
Okay, right. So yeah, it's been a hoot. It's been great, and I've had fun, and it's been about 3.5 hours now.
Has it? Holy moly.
Yeah. In 3.5 hours, we need to get some food into our
Yes.
alcohol-ravaged systems. But thanks for everything. It's been a blast, and thanks for being supportive and friendly and a good community. And supportive and all that sort of thing.
Yes.
It's been a hoot.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice Saturday.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.